Hello, this is Mad Cat, angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. And today is the first episode of Open Mic. This is a show that I've created for some of my fans that can't make it to my earlier shows. And I really have no plans for this show at all. I mean, I have a few articles loaded up, but I don't know what's going to happen. Especially since I've opened it up for anyone to join if they want. If you are interested in joining the channel, the show, reach out to Modern Medusa on Twitter. That's Vanessa with cheese, and she'll get you an invite into here. So how you doing, Vanessa?
I'm doing good. I'm making some grilled cheese. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Got some last minute issues of Google to deal with. Firefox doesn't want to use Google Hangouts anymore, so now I'm forced to use Chrome, motherfuckers. Anyone know what the name of Google's social media is? Because someone wants to know what my name is on there, and I'm like, I don't remember what it's called.
Are you talking about Google Plus or something else?
Yes, Plus. Oh my fucking god.
Oh, okay. See, I was trying to think of what you were talking about, but I couldn't figure it out.
All right, so let's see if this works. I apologize. Open invite to everyone, but for whatever reason, Google Hangouts is just not working for a lot of people. So someone wants me to add them directly into the call, and I'm like, I don't know if you can do that with Google Hangouts, at least through YouTube. I mean, back in the day, I used to do it, but that was like actually through Google Plus. So I'm confounded if it can actually be done, because I don't even think I use my Google Plus with my Mad Cat account.
I think it automatically makes you one when you make YouTube.
Yeah, well, I had YouTube before Google Plus was a thing.
Yeah, so did I.
And when it first started integrating the two, it kept saying, hey, put your actual name here. I'm like, fuck no, I'm not going to put my actual name on my YouTube account. Yeah. This is before I revealed who I was. So it ended up creating two accounts. One that actually has my name on it, and one for my YouTube channel.
Actually, I have the same thing.
Someone's saying that I have to mute the echo is so bad. All right, that looks like that's going to be. All right, so hopefully I can help that person get in here. All right, so interesting week this week. We had a couple of shows. We had the Cobra Cat this week on Wednesday for International Women's Day. And, it's a lot of interesting conversations coming out of the protest, because a couple of the real women, I call them, that are on my Facebook, they were talking to social justice warriors and feminists out and about on that day and asking them about what the protest was all about. And they kept getting a lot of different answers, or no one really knew what was going on. But one person gave an interesting answer. and I think it was like at a barista at Starbucks or whatever. And they're like, oh, well, the protest is so to show the world that women deserve to be employed. And it's like, so the way that you show that women can be employed is by taking a day off from work.
That's hilarious.
Ugh. I don't know. I think that it was just an excuse to just protest for no specific reason, just to say, oh, we're women and we need special things. And, you know, I haven't really heard really all that much come out of it that was like profound. Most of it is just jokes. Okay. So now person's, I guess, emailed me. If anyone knows how to add a person from Google Hangouts on YouTube to bring them into the call, please let me know, because I'm like,
I think you might have to go to like actual Google Hangouts. Like, I don't know. I have an app on my computer, so I don't know how it would work on yours.
yeah, and he's trying to do it through his cell phone, but I'm just okay. So I'm going to give this a couple more minutes. I'm actually giving, you know, a couple of minutes to see if anyone messages me or Modern Medusa to get onto the channel. So we're just kind of filling it at first. As once again, this is open to anyone. If someone wants to join and join the conversation, they're welcome to do so. So that helps. All right, so we also had Steve Moxon on our show this week, and that was actually a really great conversation. Is I don't know, I don't agree with everything Steve Moxon says, but his thinking is that, you know, we need to get the science in, and he was disappointed that the science really hasn't been discussed. The Red Pill movie, and it was like, well, you know, the problem is that people are so quick to turn a blind eye to science. Like, they think that somehow they are the sum of their parts. I mean, more than the sum of their parts. So if you talk about biology, psychology, what have you, then suddenly you're talking nonsense. And it's sad that people do that. They want to believe that somehow they're above all of that. They're somehow more special. And I think that's where social justice warriors originate in their need to be special, is that so rejecting of science. I mean, we acknowledge that science is a thing. We acknowledge that it's brought us many things, but people are quick to dismiss any sort of science whatsoever. You know, if I say, well, you know, you're acting out because you just actually need attention because your parents didn't give you attention, instead of people being like, well, you know, that's probably true. It's like, no, that's not it at all. You just don't understand. You know, and so I think that's why we have to try to, I mean, we need facts. That's always important, but we need to also address people on their emotions to try to override their emotional tendencies. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and...
Would it be cool if I posted the Hangout link in group chat? It's not a lot of people. It's like a few people that we know.
In which group chat? Like for the YouTube channel or for...
Like on Twitter.
On Twitter? Sure.
Okay.
If it's just a group chat, yeah, why not? As long as it's not public.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want some troll coming in here and disrupting everything, and it's like, All right, quitting out of Skype. So my system can be a little bit more improved. Let's go ahead and do a screen share. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Application window, open mic number 1. Boing, boing, boing. Oh, hello there, Thrax. What are you saying, Spy Team Satan? Your name, by the way. Well, why wouldn't we need you? All right, so one of the things I'm going to do is, like, there's a number of stories I want to do every week, but I have to kind of pick and choose what I'm going to be doing. Well, as a troll, I meant like someone who would just come in and start blaring music and not, you know, respecting anyone in the chat. And then, you know, I have to either mute them or kick them out or stuff like that. And that's just too much. So I don't want it. Look, but no, if you want to come in, Spy Team, come on in. You know, contact Modern Medusa. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go over some of the articles that we didn't get to do this week. And we might talk about in the near future, but this is an interesting article. And it kind of gives me hope, but then it's like the response, it's like, yeah. So, till death do us pay. Legislators consider divorcing alimony law. So the problem with alimony in the United States, and I don't know how it does it for the rest of the world, but basically, when you are forced to pay alimony, it's usually a lifetime commitment. So if you get married to someone, say I get married to Modern Medusa, it's a dream come true, and then we divorce. The court may decide that if she supported me as, you know, I got a career, that I'm financially obligated to pay her money for the rest of my life. Now, this was originally set up because there was a time where women, like middle-class women, didn't really work. They stayed at home and raised children. And men... I should turn off Twitter. Men would need to go ahead and pay their way because they didn't know how to do anything else. But the idea was it was supposed to be like a temporary thing. It was meant to rehabilitate people into taking care of themselves, but they had to go ahead, but men had to pay to help them do that. That was the original intent of alimony. It was also, say, if you got a divorce later in life, like you're old, well, it's hard for old people to get jobs. So if one person is still making a good amount of money, they can go ahead and help pay their spouse's way of life. But now, it's just become so corrupt that, you know, it's like, I was talking about Robin Williams, and that probably the reason why he got a why he committed suicide was because he had to pay so much alimony. He had to pay alimony to 2 women. And, you know, I think the estimate that's come out of how much he's had to pay over the last 26 years was $25 million. God, if I had $1 million right now, I would be set for life. I would make it last the rest of my life. And yeah, things are getting more expensive, but I mean, his first wife was getting like, what was it, $600,000 a month? $600,000. No, maybe it was 60,000 a month. Yeah, it was 60,000 a month. But $60,000, I haven't even made that like once in my life. And we're talking like getting it every single month. Why? And I can understand if it was 60,000 a year, but even then, after 10 years, stop. If a person hasn't figured out how to take care of themselves after 10 years on alimony, they deserve to be poor. What are you saying, Vanessa?
I said that's just fucking ridiculous. Why the fuck would you? Why would that? That doesn't even make it like even close to any sense. But women never fucking do when they're asking for extra shit.
Yeah, and then there was the issue of the basketball player, and I don't remember his name, but apparently he was paying child support for his child and his baby's mama. And then she turned 18, so the payment stopped, and now this woman is in the poorhouse. And she's like demanding the court make him pay her money. And even going on social media and saying, oh, poor me, you know, I'm not getting paid any money, you know, I took care of his child. And it's like, you should have known this was going to happen when the girl turned 18. I mean, it's bad that you relied on his money rather than try to take care of the girl yourself.
That is absolutely ridiculous. Why are you in my way, Cat?
Well, you accepted the invite. I don't know why you think I'm in your way.
Fuck you.
Hey, it's NC Clark. Well, if NC wants to join, she's welcome to do so. Mad Cat would spend most of the money on hookers and booze. The rest he would waste. But you know what? It is possible to have $1 million, live your life, and still have a hooker every day. I'm just saying, it's possible.
I believe that.
All right, so let's go into this article. So they're talking about Rick Fleming, and that the court has ordered him to send his ex-wife $2,200 a month for the rest of his life. Their children are grown, and they've both since remarried, but he still has to hand over 40% of his income to her.
So she's getting money from the dude that she's married to and him.
Basically. And I love what he says. Divorce shouldn't be a life sentence. No, I agree with that. It shouldn't be. So basically, and what state is this in? Vermont. Basically, Vermont wants to start an investigation into this. They want to create a committee to investigate alimony to see if it's necessary. But of course, feminists have a problem with this. Because, I mean, why wouldn't they? Okay, so Senator Judiciary Committee Chair Dick Sears said this: there's no question that it's outdated, that today's marriages and today's lifestyle are much more different than they were 50 years ago. Now, that's more than enough reason to stop alimony, but the perception is that rich, white, old men issue, and that's not the case. So let's find the... Okay, so this feminist here, University of Vermont professor Felicia Korbla, who specializes in gender, sexuality, and women's studies. She says, I would hate to take alimony off the table. It ignores the fact that we still have an economic discrimination against women. Okay, but even if there's an economic discrimination against women, which there isn't, but let's say there is, and let's say it's even at 23%, again, it's not, but let's say it is, 23% and 40% don't equate. I mean, why should a man have to pay nearly double that amount if there's a gender economic inequality?
My theory is because it's the whole shoot for the stars if you're trying to hit the moon thing is they're asking for way more than they expect to get to try and compensate for their frankly made up number on economic disparagement. That's why I would think they'd go for 40%.
Basically laziness.
I mean, I wish I could say it was just laziness, but to me, it seems like they're trying to shoot higher than they believe that they'll get because they're not that stupid.
Well, it was court ordered. It wasn't like there was a feminist who made this decision. It was the courts that made the decision that this man pay 40% of his income to his wife.
Oh, well, I mean, that sounds more like alimony than pay gap. I don't think that's really a pay gap argument.
Well, the feminist is making a pay gap argument as to why alimony is necessary.
Oh, okay. See, I was wondering where that conflation came in.
Yeah.
So that's where that's coming from. Well, honestly, the whole pay gap theory, in my opinion, goes against alimony because that should just encourage her to get a, legitimate career, not some, feminist dance theory yoga instructor.
Unless you're a damn good one.
Well, I mean, if you're good enough, you can make a living doing anything. But if you're not good enough to hack some shit like that, then suck it up like 99% of society and get a regular workaday job.
Yeah. Well, the other problem with alimony is it's this expectation that if you had a certain lifestyle while you were married, you need to maintain her lifestyle now that she's divorced. So if you make $1 million a year and you get a divorce, she has to now make $1 million a year.
See, and I think that's bullshit. Also, it's like, I'm sorry, like giving up that lifestyle is part of the deal of giving up being married to that person. Like it's
right.
That lifestyle came with the marriage, then therefore it's only fair that it goes with the marriage.
Yeah. What happens when she has a really nice lifestyle and then he's like fucking trying to fucking pay his bills and her bills at the same time, and then she ends up better off? That's happened in some cases, or they end up broke.
Oh, several. I have really, really close friends that I want to have him on a stream sometime, but I'm waiting until my channel has a little bit more reputation to do it. But that's almost precisely what happened to him, because he had a pretty good job when they got divorced, got significantly injured. So he's still expected to pay an amount based on the job he had when they got divorced, even though he doesn't have that job now. He was damn near homeless for almost a decade and barely got to see his kids because the way the courts work, if you're not up to date on your payments, then your spouse basically has, your ex basically has carte blanche to say you can't see your kids. And that's within her right, apparently.
Well, it's worse than that. You can actually go to jail for not paying your child support.
Oh yeah. He lived with his head over his shoulder for a couple of years because the cops were after him. I mean, it's since been forgiven. Like, legally speaking, it's been forgiven. But it took years for him to get off paper, legally speaking, simply because of that. And, again, like, if I can get him, if he's comfortable sharing that story, I would love to have him on. I know it's going to make me look like a men's rights advocate, which I don't really like the conflation that comes with that label.
Well, is it really a bad thing to be a rights advocate?
Okay, a rights advocate, sure, but the thing is since the abbreviation is used for advocates and activists, it's a dangerous thing.
Okay, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
And that's the thing is I have no problem self-identifying as an advocate for men's rights in categories where men are, determinably disadvantaged. But I'm not an activist for like men should have all the rights. It's like men should have equal rights to women. So egalitarian is the best label I can think of, but I mean, Onision has started using the label egalitarian. There's only so much time before that label becomes corrupted because of bias.
I'm still going to use it. Just because people want to corrupt.
He tries to just stir the pot. Right?
Well, yeah, that's okay.
Wasn't it Onision who also said that egalitarian was a social construct created by the MRA?
A couple of years ago, he said that.
He goes back and forth on all this bullshit. He's fake as fuck.
Well, Onision is the fake news of the YouTube genre.
Well, I think there's a little bit worse, but Onision is as cancerous as it gets.
But he's still, I mean, he may not be the worst, but he's a damn near textbook example of YouTube fake news.
Yeah.
I mean,
So let me stop you all there. We got some new people in, and some people are asking questions. Who the hell are these people? I don't even know who the hell you are. So, if you could introduce yourself real quick.
I am the internet's second favorite sin, the Wrath of Controversy. So once you're done fapping to the lovely image on screen known as Modern Medusa, check out my channel.
Yeah. How many get to 1,000 subscribers?
Little monkey.
Hey, what's up? Not much, just some random shitlord.
All right.
That's really it, you know?
So going back to our discussion about alimony, so yeah, I'm not surprised that feminists have a problem with it because once again, it means that if we take away alimony, women are responsible for themselves, or if we limit alimony.
Well, they're still not responsible for themselves because they can just drop off a child at a fire station, ring the bell, and run.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So like Minnesota, Florida, New Jersey, Connecticut, Arkansas, and Oregon are considering making changes to alimony law. And Massachusetts has actually revamped alimony, which I actually agree with this a little bit. The payment ceases if the payer retires or when the receiving spouse has lived with another romantic partner for at least 3 months.
If I could see what's called a legal or financial abortion, depending on where you are, Europe, the United States of America, etc., then I'd think that at that point we've gone pretty damn far, and I'd be okay with just that, basically.
So by a legal abortion, the guy can basically say, "I don't want anything to do with the kid." Is that the concept we're talking about?
You cannot see the child until the child reaches the age of 18. So you've basically said, financially involved, I'm also not going to be involved at all because, I mean, in all fairness, if you're not going to raise the child and pay for the expenses, you shouldn't see the child.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to split a hair on one part of what you said. I like the concept, but I don't like the you can't see the child. I would amend that you have no legal right as a parent to the child. You can see the child if the mother is if the mom's okay with it or whatever. When you see the child, that's okay, but like you have no legal right to the child, nor can you have legal right to the child. Ever.
I also think, I mean, just imagine like the crazy dad like running up to, you know, his kid being like, "I'm your dad," and like just ruining, you know, because maybe the kid didn't know or whatever, etc. It kind of sounds like people want their cake and eat it too. Like when feminists say they want alimony, they're basically abdicating their financial responsibility. So then when a guy does it, the same thing should happen.
Well, here's the thing is
it's a principle.
Well, but I disagree with your principle because you're basing a law on a hypothetical rather than a practice.
Well, it's not just a hypothetical; it's done in other countries.
I'd like to see a citation on that before I'm gonna go with you on that one.
Okay, sure. I'll get you a citation. I'll post it in the group chat.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's like I'm not trying to be a dick. I just like that. That sounds too like.
Too good to be true.
It's presumptive. It's too presumptive for my comfort. Now, if the process, like, say there's bad blood between mommy and daddy of the baby that dad's legally aborting, we're gonna call it that. Then get a restraining order and get an extension of that restraining order to your child, since you got filed for the restraining order while you were pregnant It should be fairly simple to do, and if it isn't currently simple to do in the legal process, we should fix that.
Actually, it's a little too easy to do, especially when it comes to divorce cases. Women are actually encouraged by their lawyers to file a restraining order in divorce proceedings and even make up excuses of like, oh, well, he's sexually abusive to the children. And the courts will just carte blanche, like, okay, you cannot go near these people, even if there's no evidence to support that claim.
It's that easy? I thought you had to have evidence.
Nope.
Because I had a friend who she was not married to the father, but she had a child with this guy, and it had a lot of problems with them. I won't go into detail because it's not my place to say, but I had a lot of problems with this guy while they were together and before they broke up. Because they were together, they just weren't married. But she actually was afraid to get a restraining order and didn't think that she'd be able to do it. And she had, let's just say, enough evidence that no sane person would deny her a restraining order. But
Well,
again,
no,
I'm trying to be intentionally vague, because if I were to be doxxed, it'd be easy to track down who that person is.
No,
as far
that's
as my
understandable.
friends.
Don't worry about that. But, you know, I'm not saying that it's 100% this happens, but it happens enough that, you know, it's actually become a problem. That a lot of fathers, you know, are denied access to their children because of made-up excuses. In fact, there was a famous case of it where this man and woman, they were divorced and not living together. And this woman basically convinced her daughter to say that her father sexually molested him, then told the police this, and the father went to jail. And 10 years later, the daughter is now like 22 years old and has come out saying she was coerced by the mother to make this all up, and he's still in jail. They won't release him from jail because, you know, they convicted him. Why release him once he's been proven innocent, you know? But it's kind of like that, like, well, maybe she's just having like survivor's guilt or whatever bullshit there is. And it's very easy for men to be on the hook for something they didn't do, especially when it comes to children. If you can get a child to say, hey, you know, this man sexually assaulted me, the courts will just like bend over backwards to make sure that child is safe without ever considering if she's lying.
Oh, see, that's what you meant by that. See, I wasn't 100% up to speed with you on that, I guess. But what you're describing actually happened to a friend of mine, and he actually did prison time for it. Now, thankfully, he did not do a full 10 years or something like that, because of the nature and how old the case was. Literally, he was charged within a few months of the statute of limitations for what he was convicted of. So he did, I think, 18 months for it. And there's since been documentation that at least one of the victims, quote unquote, committed perjury.
Yeah.
And
we're actually starting to see a lot more cases now of women committing perjury, especially when it comes to rape. And now, and this is actually starting to be a positive thing, is that now women are getting punished for perjury. They're still not serving anywhere near what they should be serving as far as prison sentencing goes, but they're starting to get punished for it. Where maybe 5 years ago, it would have been a slap on the wrist, even if the person they accused served jail time.
See, here's my thing on perjury and false accusation. And I've been called an extremist on this matter, but I don't care who the false witness is and who the accused is, male, female, vice versa. It doesn't matter to me. If you accuse someone of a crime that leads to a conviction, should that conviction be overturned, or they can prove that your accusation, which basically poisoned the well or created a believable case against that person, you should face the exact punishment that they were up against. Like, you should be sentenced as though they would have been for that crime.
I agree with that.
Like
100%. And also pay whatever fine necessary, because now his life is forever destroyed.
Oh yeah, you
Because
should
a
also pay
false rape
damages.
accusation will destroy a man's life.
Oh yeah, like for anything that, like, if there's a result of defamation of character, absolutely you should have to pay damages to your victim, because you did victimize them.
Yes.
Under no uncertain terms. Like the Duke lacrosse thing. That girl should have to basically pay those young men the value in scholarships they lost.
Well, there's currently a suit going on right now, and there was the dean who got accused of not taking her rape seriously, who had never even heard of this whole thing until the Rolling Stones article came out and named the dean for not doing anything. She won a civil suit against this person in the tune of, like, actually, no, it was against Rolling Stone in the tune of $3 million. And I believe that the case with the Duke lacrosse team is still pending.
Right. And I hope that it's the Duke lacrosse case is taken seriously, because I'd like a precedent set in just the general field of false accusation. Like, it's not even just a men's rights issue, it's false accusation in general should not be taken lightly or slapped on the wrist for. It should be a serious crime. Like,
well, I agree with you, but can we dive into the nasties of it? For example, if there's let's say a false accusation of, let's say rape, for example, right?
Okay.
How would you go about making sure that 100% it is a false accusation, and then how would you go about punishing that?
Well, the thing is that most of the false accusations we hear about is people coming forward and saying they lied about the whole thing. So that's one aspect of it. But, if police actually do an investigation into it and don't just automatically start with an assumption that it did happen, such as the Duluth model, that men are automatically guilty when a woman accuses them of something, then we can get a more thorough investigation done.
Right.
But there was a case a few years ago, and we talked about this on Wednesday. Some chick in the UK, like something Abraham or whatever, she got arrested for perjury for claiming that she got raped when she did it. And the police even told her, you need to drop this or we're going to arrest you. The reason why they didn't believe her is none of her facts matched up with what she claimed. I mean, I don't know the specifics of it. I'd have to look it up again. But, she told one story. They went and investigated and couldn't find anything to corroborate what she specifically said. So I
could see cases like that. But then, I mean, I could also see potential for abuse in such a system. Yeah. And the way I see it is, if we're going to go ahead and punish people for, let's say, what I consider a false accusation, the burden of proof should be higher than beyond a reasonable doubt. The burden of proof should be absolute at something like that.
Well, right. I think that
so should rape. So should rape and murder. It shouldn't be, well, maybe it happened, so we're going to punish you anyways. You need to actually prove that it happened.
Well, but here's the thing.
And if you lied about it and a person got convicted, then you've got to demonstrate that this person knowingly lied about it. Because there is such a thing as falsely identifying someone. And there was actually a famous case about this. The defendant's name was Cotton. I forget his first name. Maybe it was Ron Cotton or whatever. He got falsely identified in a rape case. The woman believed it was this man. And it took him like 20 years in prison to finally prove with DNA evidence he wasn't the man.
Wait a minute. Isn't the Ron Cotton case? Wasn't the Ron Cotton case the inspiration of John Coffey in The Green Mile?
I don't remember.
I've
never actually heard that.
Well, I mean,
Someone was telling me that there was a famous case that the Green Mile, that the character of John Coffey is inspired based on. I don't know if it's that one, but it sounds like a similar type case to the fictional case of that character in the Green Mile. Sorry, go on, Monkey.
yeah. So if we're talking about cases where we have absolute evidence, like I wanted to go ahead because you gave one example. I want to give another example of something where we could say it is definitive. It is 100%. Let's say we find Facebook messages, or if there's a warrant issued, there's an investigation. Someone's, it's a he said, she said thing, and you catch a message that says, "Hey, I'm going to falsely accuse this person," and it's in writing. That's a point where it is definitive. It is 100%
Oh yeah,
there.
that's
And
concrete evidence. Like if you say, like I haven't read every single one of them clearly because I don't know. I don't think even the FBI has, to be frank. But if I found in one of Hillary's emails, I like verbatim, I am going to win this election. Bernie cannot win the election because I have rigged the system. In Hillary's emails, then that'd be like, okay, well, she admitted to election fraud, so prison time. I mean, I don't know, and that's the thing. I don't know. I'm skeptical.
There is a case where this actually did happen. It happened in Arizona, and it was basically a high school boy, and 12 girls came forward and claimed that this one boy raped all of them between the grades of 9th grade and 11th grade. And he went to jail, but he only served 1 year because his lawyer later showed that they created a Facebook group and talked about how they were going to falsely accuse this boy of rape.
Oh, I heard about that.
And
yeah, I heard about that. That was actually
Yeah.
in my state. There was a case like that in my state.
Are you in Arizona? Because that's the one we're talking about.
Nope, not in Arizona. I forgot. I'm a little too
Yeah.
baked.
where are you from?
Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry.
It's a little crazy up here, but I mean, what's not to like about high population density?
Well, I'm sure it's happened in Massachusetts. I'm sure it's happened many other
definitely.
places, but the
I mean,
one
there's
we're
probably
Actually, a case in like a middle school. It was reported on 7 News. It was like really young children, which is one of the reasons. And I can't find it. I was looking for it all the time. I swear to Jesus, I saw it on TV, but I can't find it, and it's really hard to find the case. And I've been trying to look for it.
So, Samaj, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, I'm a kind of a latecomer. I tend to stay quiet when I jump in, just so I know what the conversation is, and I'll just let my mouth run off. But now I see you guys are talking about some pivotal issues about various different cases of rape and whatnot, and I did want to chime in with something. I think this all very, very candidly opens up the issue involving the justice system and how it's become kind of corrupt and kind of lazy. But I also wanted to say that I have a big problem with the way that things are. Like if you've guilty or innocent, accusations stay on your record pretty much forever. And I think that's a very twisted system to have go out in various different parts. Of course, I'm in Canada. I mean, socialist Canada is very it's very crazy at the moment when it comes to these laws. So
Yeah, especially with what happened with Janice Fiamingo.
yeah, no, that's bad. Well, also like, and to make it more personal, I mean, my brother has a similar case when he just got out of jail, and Lord knows it's affecting him trying to get at work and all that. So.
All right, so I want to move the conversation to something a little more funny. I'm going to go ahead and do screen share again. 12 compelling arguments to never give another blowjob.
The funny
how many letters are in lesbian? Because that's you have that many.
I already failed today.
I was gonna say, Are 7 of those reasons the word lesbian spelled out?
Actually, no. This is all about why straight women shouldn't give a blowjob anymore.
Okay, then I'm gonna
And this
write.
is funny coming
gonna
from
write-
Cosmo.
See, I'm gonna write 15 compelling reasons to never to go down on your woman
Good idea.
as a response. We're like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this.
Well, the thing is, there's 0 reasons for both of those.
Well, that's the joke.
All right.
Any reason is just
So-
bitter.
Why do I get the sneaking feeling that this is going to be an article
That's the
stating?
joke.
Why do I get a sneaking feeling that this is going to be an article saying that it's perfectly fine to do that early on in the relationship, but as soon as you get a ring, just cut them off?
Oh,
Well, let's look at the
like
reasons.
wow, like could you project more MGTOW right now, Samash?
Sorry. I'm not, I swear.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at number 1. Deep within your heart, you know you can get oral without giving it. Whoever started the rumor that oral sex is an act of reciprocity, I can't read, was probably a dude. And he was definitely lying. If a dude won't go down on you, dump him. If a dude refuses to go down on you unless you return the favor, dump him. A truly great man will go down on you forever, never expecting a thing. Find that man.
No, I don't want that man.
I do believe relationships, you give a little, you get a little. I mean, it sounds like it's like women should only get oral, and men should never get oral. It's like that sounds kind of sexist.
I've been with chicks like that before who have this expectation that I'll go down on them and spend like an hour down there. But then when it comes to sucking my dick, it's like I have to almost like beg them to do it. And when they do, they maybe do it for 5 minutes. Like, okay, I want you to fuck me now. It's like, bitch, no, I went down on you for like 20 minutes. You could at least give me 10 minutes.
Right.
Fall off, and you're like, "This is so worth it." Nope.
No, this I was with this girl that like I swear she expected a standing ovation, pun a little bit intended, for sucking my dick, but me eating her out should be standard fare if we're having sex. I was like, excuse me, what?
Fucking lame.
All right, so
The relationship didn't last, as you can imagine.
number 2, you're so sleepy. Wow, what a yawn that was. He probably saw the yawn and thought, I bet my penis would fit in there. But you are just too tired for that right now. And in fact, you may be too tired for that forever.
Hey, you cannot use our cheesy joke lines as serious argumentative points. Fucking Cosmo.
I mean, what man has had oral sex from a woman before and looks at her yawning and thinks, I bet my penis would fit in there. No man is that stupid.
No,
He's
we
like,
all
"Oh,
think
I
it.
don't
None
know
of
if
us
my
say
penis
it.
I did before, but
I'd say just slap it in there. Don't even say anything.
See me, I just like like I actually did date a girl that not the same girl that I just mentioned, but I'm a whore, don't just but I dated a girl that like she yawned. I was like, I remember when your mouth opened that way. Like I literally said that to her. She's like, really? It's like, you have a small mouth. Let me feel good about myself.
okay, so number 3. In this day and age, refusing to go down on the doob is practically part of the resistance. Look, women have it hard as it is. She said hard. Feminist acts come in all shapes and sizes. What doesn't come in all shapes and sizes is your partner's dick. No, actually, that does come in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Well, I
He won't
mean,
be going down
sure
on you.
most shapes are pretty. There's a degree of similarity, unless you got some problems, my dude.
Yeah.
Like it's just a matter of whether you gotta
But-
pull skin back or not.
So basically, the excuse to give for not giving a man a blowjob is that you're a feminist. I believe that's another way of saying that you're a lesbian.
Well, it just kind of sounds like feminists don't want to enjoy life.
I'm telling you, dude. The 7 reasons are actually like 7 of the 12 reasons are the word lesbian spelled out.
Well, it's not so much that feminists don't want to enjoy life; they just don't want men to enjoy life.
Well, yeah, it's kind of that. I don't know how to describe it. It's this sort of mentality where, like, oh, I'm the center of fucking attention, right? Everything should be about me. But then at the same time, like, what are you doing? You're just fucking basically sabotaging every relationship.
Yeah.
Like, if you personally don't want to suck dick, that's fine. But you writing this article is like you trying to sabotage relationships.
And this is coming from Cosmopolitan that has articles about how to really give him the time of his life, what your sucking technique says about your relationship. And now they're saying don't have oral sex. Okay, number 4, you work so hard all day at doing your job, your actual job.
Sorry.
So he doesn't work?
That was involuntary.
Okay, so
play on the word blowjob is what they do.
So you work too hard at your work. All right, I get that. That sounds somewhat reasonable. What about the weekends?
Right.
Well, women work 7 days a week being a bitch. So,
see, here's my argument on this. One of the biggest factors in the pay variance between men and women is average hours worked. That's where that snort came from. Or just like, really? Like, when you statistically work significantly less hours, take more time off, utilize more paid holidays, you're complaining that you work hard enough at your job. You shouldn't have to please your partner who's also pleasing you. Really? Come on, woman.
Next one is like utter bullshit. Men are already having too many orgasms anyways. And she references orgasm gap, which we talked about on the show last week. It's just a fundamentally flawed survey that was done. They reached out to a whole lot of different topics, but they drew the conclusion that straight women are having less orgasms than straight men. But the problem with the study is it didn't ask, how difficult it is for them to have orgasms. It didn't ask, because all it really asks is how often do you have an orgasm during sex? It also didn't ask how often do people have sex.
Well,
if you're saying you're only getting 1 orgasm a week and then you're only having sex 1 day a week, then that kind of makes it different than someone who has 7 times a week and only 2 orgasms.
And also, are they
together? There's no such thing as too many orgasms ever.
Well, if you do go blind, then yes, there is. But
I mean, there's that lady who was having them hundreds of times a day involuntarily.
Involuntarily is a different thing. We're not talking about the male supremacy shit.
No, I'm talking about the woman who had a medical condition where she was orgasming constantly.
Permanent genital arousal syndrome, something like that.
Some shit like that, which I also refer to as being sub to Medusa, but whatever.
All right, number 6. You can't have deep, meaningful conversation with the penis in your mouth.
Not everything's a deep and meaningful conversation. I can't have it with your labia all over my face either.
Well,
no, she's the one that talks the whole time.
No. I go down as
24/7.
Well, I go down on women as a second way to get them to shut up because they can't talk if you're doing your job right.
Well, not to mention, I mean, like, how deep and meaningful of a conversation can you have when you're actually having sex? Oh God, oh God, oh God. I mean, it's just like, let's just repeat ourselves. Or do you like slap my ass? I don't know. It's
Yeah, I was
just,
gonna say.
it's not a meaningful conversation.
I was gonna say, if you're having a meaningful conversation during sex, you're probably doing it wrong. Like, could you imagine someone's writing you? It was like, so what are we gonna do about the problems with slavery and sex slaves in the Middle East? How do we solve that? No, that never happens. Like, you know how hard it was? I was imitating
That does
the
happen,
strain
but
of
it usually
having sex. I wasn't even
the
having
conversation
imitating.
starts. Hey, what do you think about sex slavery? Oh, are you my filthy little sex slave? Yes, I'm your filthy little sex slave.
Well, and
Okay,
also, like,
okay, so that's we just found a solution for that. For the people who want sex slaves, we find the people who like being slaves as a kink rather than doing it involuntarily. See, hashtag kinks saving the world.
No, but those are two different things. Like the actual like trafficking. One is you're basically being bought. The other one is like you're fucking into it.
See.
Okay, so
you missed the joke.
Karn.
Okay, all right. I thought you were being fucking serious.
That can make
Karn
me a
in the
moderator.
I was retarded.
Karn.
I am.
Okay, Karn in the chat has a good suggestion for a mouthful of cock. Is that you can use sign language.
Yep.
Bro, make me a moderator in the chat.
Yep.
How do I do that?
You put the little dot next to my name. You click it.
I think he figured it out.
You say you right click it, and there should be an add moderator in the right click drop down.
Can
Well,
someone
say something so I can do it.
no, she's trying to type in the side chat here, but I don't know.
There you go.
do like the webcam? I fucking need one to like spark a blunt. Like I can't find it.
That's okay.
There, you're a moderator now. Maybe. I
Yay,
don't know.
thank you.
All right, so let's move on because this is just so much fun to talk about. Darn, you would, but you just brushed your teeth and don't really want to put anything else in your mouth. So are you
Okay.
having sex without brushing your teeth first?
I'm using that argument every time a girl wants me to go down them from now on.
Well, doesn't it just?
I just
wipe-
brushed my teeth, woman. I don't need fish breath.
Doesn't it just? Isn't it just
Oh, God.
increasing potential on your teeth? Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guarantee you will have white on your teeth when we are done. Next excuse. I can do this all night.
It would
Let me
be
guess,
way
Alec.
more fun for both of you just to have penetrative sex. I've yet to see a
69.
compelling argument that proves a crude bodily instrument such as the penis can tell the difference between the inside of the mouth and the inside of a vagina. Skip the blowjob and go straight to sex, something you both can enjoy.
Except for
Yay,
that,
let's all have vanilla sex all the time.
as you say, except for that, the head of your penis has more nerve endings than your tongue per square millimeter. So yeah, other than that fact, yeah, definitely can't tell the difference, dumb bitch. Like, do these people even anatomy? I mean, I shouldn't even ask that question. It's Cosmo.
do
But-
they even bother me?
It's Cosmo. I'm not sure they even read.
Yes, men can tell the difference between when their dick is being sucked and when it's in a vagina. And guess what? That's why we keep asking for it to be sucked.
Yeah. Also, yes, we can definitely tell because women stop using so much teeth. A little bit's okay. You're crossing the line.
Well, that's why
Women, you're perfectly good using more teeth on me. I actually like it when you scrape it on my cock.
there you go.
Okay,
Well,
so for all the women with buck teeth, Mad Cat's your dude.
Well, I mean, just English women in general.
See, this is why
Yeah,
the
there's
English
some
accent
hot
is both
chicks
sexy
out
and
there.
scary to me. because too much teeth
That
can be a
is
bad
terrifying.
thing, and they may not be able to entirely control that if they're English.
Hey, look, I'm sorry for being too edgy, guys. Okay.
You're too edgy.
My dude,
You apparently haven't seen any show that me and Modern Medusas have ever been on.
maybe
Well,
not. I don't
The,
know.
the joke is, it's not too fucking edgy. There's worse.
Okay, so here's a good bullshit one. Number 9, honestly, has he really earned it? Do you know that what was a great reward system? The chore chart my family had, where I won stars to earn my allowance each week. How many stars are on your boyfriend's chore chart? Surely not enough for a blowjob.
How about putting food on the table, you dumb bitch?
Here's where I'm gonna go with that. If you have a chore chart for your boyfriend, then what you have is a sugar daddy / slave, not a relationship.
Well, I'll
There
call
you
that
go.
a cuck. It's a fucking Georgia.
Different. Okay, same shit, different spelling.
I mean, it's one thing if you're living together and you have like a chore chart just to make sure you know who's doing what, if that's what works best for you.
Well, yeah,
But a
but it shouldn't be
reward
like you get
system
gold
on top of
stars
that?
for it. Yeah, that's what I mean. Is that it shouldn't be like a reward punishment system. It should be these are the things that need to be done this week, and you mark them off as they get done. So like a to-do list, I get. Even a honey-do list, I kind of get. But like a reward / punishment system based on that chart, nah, your relationship's not healthy.
Well, and not only that, I mean, romance in general is spontaneous and random. You can't plan it out and set up reward systems around it. It just sort
Wait.
of happens.
You're telling me arranged marriage is not a romantic thing? What's wrong with you, Samaj? You're just a bigot.
Well, okay, yeah, sure. I'm a total bigot. Sure, I might as well just own up to it.
I'm glad you finally owned up to it. I've been a bigot for years.
Wikipedia snippet says, if your childhood chore chart had a blowjobs, you had a scary childhood.
Or your dad was a Catholic priest, one or the other.
Now, yeah, I mean, was the blowjobs a reward or a punishment?
And it really comes down to giving or receiving.
Yeah, let's be careful on this topic. That's what took down Milo Yiannopoulos. All right, number 9. 10. You're saving this for an extra special to-be-determined occasion. Blowjobs are kind of like an extra fancy bottle of wine that you don't want to open up until the perfect moment. When will that perfect moment be? Who's to say? But certainly not now, and to be honest, it's probably not ever.
Woman, I don't care how much money your parents spent on orthodontia, your mouth is not a rare bottle of wine.
Exactly.
Medusa, you're eerily silent in all of this.
I just think it's funny. Like, there's all of this is fucking stupid. And it's just an excuse for women who don't like sucking dick to make more excuses. And it's like, why don't you like sucking dick? It is fun. Stop being such a stuck-up bitch, and actually care about how your partner feels instead of just caring about how you feel.
If you don't want to suck dick anymore, that's fine. You can be a lesbian. You can get a lesbian with a strap on who will fuck you. But if you're going to date a guy, you better get on your knees and suck some dick.
Or you go for it.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, or you could just sort of spice it up and find a third partner that you can bring into the relationship and do the sucking for you. If you want to
I
get
thought
lazy.
you were going to say, if you want to spice it up a bit, pour Tabasco sauce on the penis.
Well, you can do that too. You can make it
Yeah.
her punishment for making you wait so long.
No, that might hurt you, dude.
Well, maybe.
Now, here's my thought on that. Since people like Riley, Justin, Dennis have been so trannies need love too, and you're discriminatory if you don't like trannies. Okay, bitch, date a trans man if you don't want to suck dick.
No, but here's the thing. It's just Justin Dennis. Don't say Riley. That's giving into It's delusions. Not even he or she. It's just it.
No, his. That's a he.
That's a very impressive Adam's apple that he has there. We all see it.
Like Samaj, you've seen what I look like. My Adam's apple. Someone asked if I had cancer because it's that big, and his is bigger than mine.
I would say that I've seen it, except your beard was in the way.
Oh, that's right. Well, let's just put it this way. His is bigger than mine, and someone, I don't know if they were joking or not, because they said it deadpan serious, asked if I had a tumor in my throat. And his is still bigger and pointier than mine.
All right, number 11. You don't want premature lip wrinkles. Not that there's any proof that sucking on a penis will cause your skin around your mouth to wrinkle, but it seems believable enough, right?
If your boyfriend's dumb enough to read something like Cosmo or the men's equivalent, sure.
I mean, wouldn't it just kind of moisturize instead?
Right. Like I would like, I mean, if it helps moisturize and slow down the aging process in other tissue, you would think that it would be just fine for lips too.
Number 12. Look, penises are icky. All I'm saying is if a dude can't even wash his sheets or comb his hair, odds are he's not doing routine hygiene maintenance on his nether regions. Well, maybe you shouldn't be dating guys who don't comb their hair and don't wash his sheets then.
I was gonna say, here's a real simple solution to that. Sniff before you lick. It's the same rule I do for you. It's fine if you do it to me too.
Or an even simpler solution is before you have sex, say, hey, let's take a shower together first.
Oh yeah, dude. Shower foreplay
And
is
that way
best
you can
foreplay.
click your ass so he'll lick your asshole.
They say shower foreplay is best foreplay.
Yeah.
Well, not the best, but it's pretty good.
It's a nice little warm-up activity. I mean, I don't see a reason not to do it. Like shower.
I mean, unless you do it way too often. I mean, let's variety is the spice of life.
True enough. I mean, there is a problem if you shower too often. I mean, it can make your skin much more dried out and all that, especially if you're like me with eczema. It's not good for you to shower daily.
Youch. I'm glad I don't have eczema or eczema, however people call it.
I could care less how it's pronounced, but yeah.
I'm glad I don't have that because if I had to shower every time I had sex, me and my ex would have showered like 30 times a day for the first month.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we were like a family of rabbits. It was bad. That's why it was so hard to break up with her. Because no matter how much we yelled at each other, the sex was good.
Well, I'm quite certain Modern Medusa changes her hair every time she has sex.
Is that so?
Is that why she's had two hairstyles?
Well, like every
same
week,
cream
we have a
before?
new hair color, so.
It's like I'm not saying Medusa changes her hair a lot, but I'm pretty sure it changed colors throughout a stream I was in with her.
I might be a witch, so.
Well, I mean,
A witchy woman.
hey, not all voodoo is dangerous voodoo. Some voodoo is sexy time voodoo.
You know, it's impressive how you change your hair color so much without being a feminist.
No, she does it to confuse them, and that's why it's fun. She's our
Bringing back
undercover agent.
hair dye for sane women. Although it's a little funny because she's hardly sane.
Well, sanity is overrated. I just define her as she's bringing back hair dye for shitlords. Is what she's doing. Her and I think Memory Holiday has been doing different stuff with her hair lately. I don't know. I am trying not to follow it too closely because I don't want Jeff to stab me.
All right. So
He's also a public figure on the internet. I don't think he's gonna get triggered anytime soon.
No, I doubt Jeff would actually care. That's
Before-
just a little stab at Jeff because I like him.
Before we move on from this topic, I actually thought of all that list of why not to give a blowjob, one of the things that sort of surprised me is I didn't hear him say like, you know, it hurts the muscles or they can't they get sore after a while. I thought that would have been like the #1 topic, but I didn't see it anywhere on this list.
See, Samaj, here's the problem, and here's why you should have not expected that to begin with. That makes sense. This is Cosmo. They're not allowed to make sense by contract.
I guess so. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
All right.
isn't that in the contract of being a feminist publication? Is that you're not allowed to make sense? If that's not in the contract, I don't know what's going on. Like, what is life? If that's not a requirement for them.
Well, going on that thought right there, not making sense. Swedish minister reducing car numbers, a gender equality issue as they're driven mostly by men. So Sweden wants to reduce the number of cars in Sweden because men are mostly driving cars.
And replace them with what? A gas guzzling truck? I mean, what's the logic here?
Vehicles as a whole, not just cars specifically.
Well, I guess we should move on with the article. Let's see him try to justify this concept.
Okay, so basically, Sweden Environment Minister has said reducing car numbers is a feminist issue, as well as a matter of meeting carbon emission targets, saying male drivers occupy space in Swedish cities at women's expense.
Okay.
I need to pee. If I start laughing at this article, I'm going to have to shower. And I unfortunately won't be shower sex because single. So I'll be back in a few minutes.
Apparently, shitting is a feminist issue too. So
No, don't bring that up right now. Give me a few minutes.
All right, so the car is a flexible mode of transport, and people find it nice to travel around in their own bubble. But the main drawback is that they're ineffective. A normal car in Sweden stands still for about 97% of its lifetime, and for every car there are 8 parking spaces and many miles of road. You can't call that effective. Okay, build more parking spaces then. But Ms. Skog said that reducing the number of cars on the road is a gender issue because their prevalence in Swedish cities results in men taking spaces away from women. Cars are driven largely by men, so by giving a lot of space to cars, we're giving a lot of space to men at the expense of women. Wow.
when is parking become a gendered issue? Like finding parking is a gendered issue if you really want to make it that, depending on where you're going. Like, but how the fuck are you gonna say that? Oh, like just imagine all women are driving and all women are parking. How are you gonna imagine the outrage if the men were like, "This is a meninist issue"?
Yeah.
Right.
We need to get women
Well,
to stop
and
driving.
that's the key to all of this is it's not really an issue. It's just a way of attacking men.
What we need to do. I can't even anymore.
Yeah.
They reduce the amount of cars to reduce emissions in the atmosphere. That's a perfectly valid reasoning to want to reduce it. But to say that it's a gender issue, it's like what's coming out of Tennessee about them wanting to basically ban porn as their ultimate goal.
Well,
Because
if
men
it
are
was
not
happening-
marrying.
If it was happening the other way around, if it was like we need to get women to stop driving, it turned into Saudi Arabia.
Like, never mind. I'm just gonna move on.
No, that's a very valid
Get
point.
them back in the
If
kitchen.
this was, hey bitch, why don't you drive to the kitchen? Oh wait, you can't. Took away your car. Yeah, if this was the reverse, then feminists would be having a field day with this. And you know what? Maybe there's a reason why men are more likely driving cars than women, because they're the ones who are actually working. So if you take away their cars, gee, I wonder what's going to happen. Maybe your economy will fall apart.
Yeah.
You know what? Let Sweden do it because I want their country to fail. With all the bullshit they have coming out of there, I want Sweden to fall as a country.
Well, it's not going to fall as a country. It's going to become the caliphate in like a couple of years with the amount of immigration going around.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see for how long. I mean, what we've noticed is that there's a lot of places changing as a result of the whole immigration thing. So I don't see Sweden. I don't see Sweden being incredibly stupid for too much longer. They're probably
Yeah,
gonna,
there's also, I was about to say there's also conservative rising.
absolutely. It's a global thing going on. So I mean, they're going to change awfully fast.
Yeah, this was another interesting case that came out of Sweden back in November. Gender neutral snow plowing. They argued that plowing snow out of the roads was inherently sexist because men are the ones who mostly drive, which meant that all the snow went on the sidewalks where feminists, or not feminists, women mostly used the sidewalks was their reasoning, and they ended up like falling and breaking their bones and having to go to the hospital. So they wanted to only plow the sidewalks and not the roads.
I mean, isn't plowing the sidewalk and the roads just kind of solving an issue? Like, I mean, the issue of I need to get from point A to B. What the fuck does this have to do with what the fuck that person has in between their legs? Going from point A to B. Like, what? Fucking feminist logic, dude.
Yeah, well, once again, this is just any excuse they can get to attack men. That's it.
To be fair, I don't think it's all of them. I think it's the loud minority at this point. Because most people who say they're feminists are just casual, like they're normies. They're not like the type of feminist you find on like YouTube.
Well, there was a point that I made yesterday on the show with Steve Moxon that what we're seeing right now from the feminist world is the basic idea that an animal is most dangerous when it's injured. And what we're seeing right now is the fall of feminism. But they're trying to double down, triple down. They're trying to do everything they can to maintain their foothold. And so that's why we're seeing the crazy shit that we're seeing right now. It's because they're desperately trying to hold on.
well, and they got nothing. They have nothing more to lose.
We're on the fourth wave. I don't think we're gonna have a fifth one. So,
Well, I mean, there's a bit of a divide going on in the feminist movement from what I've been hearing. One of which being is that there's actually a version of it that's trying to go back to traditionalism. They're trying to fight back against the more extreme feminists and saying, you know, taking care of kids and all that was seen as an honor at one point, as seen as a great and beloved duty, and we're not allowed to do that anymore.
yeah, it's sort of like you're against all women if you. It's mostly this intersectional crap that's going on right now that's really driving it. I think that's what the hysteria is, because what intersectionalism does is it just drags everything into it. It drags the race baiting. It just, you know, gay people, LGBT, it just drags all that into feminism, which has no place talking about it.
Yeah, it's not something that's
Related.
their issue. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and move right along. Was probably the best thing that I saw this week. What if Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton had swapped genders? No, this is brilliant. And I'll tell you why. Okay, so basically someone decided what would have happened if Donald Trump was a woman. You know, would she have been criticized for all of the things that Donald Trump did? And likewise, if we made man, would she have been like, because she had a penis? Like all the things that she had done, if she were a man, it would have been better.
Because she
So they set out to do this. And they have a video clip of this. And I want to go ahead and play this video clip. It's only like 2 minutes long, so let's try to get through the whole thing first before we make any comments. Is the other guy back yet? Because I'm sure he'll want to see this.
Nah, Samaj. is back.
Wrath, are you here? Wrath, are you here?
All right, well, we'll just fill him in as later then. All right, let's play this.
We are going to enforce the trade deals that we have, and we're going to hold people accountable. When I was Secretary of State, we increased American exports globally 30%. We increased it to China 50%. So I know how to really work to get new jobs and to get exports that help to create more new jobs.
But you haven't done it in 30 years or 26 years.
Well,
I
I've been a senator, Brenda, and I've been a Secretary of State,
So why
and I have done a lot.
one of the worst trade deals to ever happen to
Well,
a
that is your
manufacturing
opinion.
industry?
That is
You
your
go to
opinion.
England, you go to Ohio, Pennsylvania, you go anywhere you want, Secretary Gordon, and you will see devastation where manufacturers down 30, 40, sometimes 50%. NAFTA is the worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, but certainly ever signed in this country. And now you want to approve Trans-Pacific Partnership. You were totally in favor of it. Then you heard what I was saying, how bad it is, and you said, I can't win that today. But you know that if you did win, you would approve that, and that would be almost as bad as NAFTA.
Well,
nothing will ever top NAFTA.
That is just not accurate. I was against it once it was finally negotiated and the terms were laid out. I wrote about that.
You call it the gold
I
standard.
wrote about. Well,
You
I
call
hope
it the
that.
gold standard of trade.
And you know what?
You said it's the finest deal you would ever see.
No.
Then you heard what I was saying, and all of a sudden you were against it.
Well, I know you live in your own reality, Brenda, but that is not the facts. The facts are, I did say I hoped it would be a good deal, but when it was negotiated, which I was not responsible for, I concluded it wasn't. I wrote about that in my
So is it
book
President Obama's
before
fault?
you even.
Is it President Obama's fault?
Look, there are different.
Secretary, is it President Obama's
There
fault?
are
Because
different.
he's pushing it.
There are different views about what's good for our country, our economy, our leadership in the world. That's why we have to look at how we can get the economy going again. That's why I said new jobs with rising incomes, investments, not in more tax cuts that would add $5 trillion to the debt,
But you
in
have no plan.
Oh, I do.
Secretary,
In
you
fact,
have
I
no
have
plan.
written a book about it. It's called Stronger Together. You can pick it up tomorrow at a bookstore or an airport near you.
All right, so what are your thoughts on what you just saw?
Well, she was definitely very aggressive.
Well, she's representing Trump. She's reading verbatim exactly what he said and how he said it. And the guy is doing Hillary Clinton.
I thought it was interesting how much he or the man in the video interrupted her the first few seconds, I guess.
And that was something that Donald Trump was accused of doing a lot, was interrupting Hillary Clinton. But watching that, it's like, yeah, but Hillary Clinton also interrupted him a lot.
You know, I think the thing with politics, it's an aggressive game. You kind of got to be cutthroat, and there's always going to be people who are going to talk over. And that's just going to happen unless we have some sort of moderation where that doesn't. And she strikes me as the kind of woman who'd like to ban the word bossy, if you ask me.
Okay, but if Donald Trump was a woman, she would have been more likable.
No, I would not vote for Hillary Crump.
We're not talking about Hillary Clinton. We're talking about Donald Trump.
No, I know. I would never vote for Trump. I wouldn't vote for Trump now. I wouldn't vote for him if he was a woman. It doesn't change anything.
Okay. Well, I'm not saying, okay. But the point of this video, though, is to show what the gender reverse looks like. And this question. Having changed the genders, does it alter your perception of what happened during the election?
It shouldn't. If you're objective in any way, it shouldn't.
Well, I mean, it's going to happen one way or the other. I mean,
but even with Obama, I want to bring another example here. Even with Obama, race shouldn't have played anything into it if you were objective.
No, I agree with that. I agree with both of those points. But what ended up happening in this case here is that they were trying to show, like, if Hillary Clinton was a man, then people would have supported the male Hillary Clinton. And if Donald Trump was a woman, people wouldn't have because they don't like aggressive behaviors from women. Finding out in doing this was the exact opposite. That a lot of people realized that they only voted for Hillary Clinton because she was a woman. And when you put the same words into a man, a lot of people hated the man. Even though he's saying exactly the way Hillary Clinton said it, her exact words, her exact nuance. I mean, my first thought was, wow, this guy is very slimy. I mean, I felt that way about Hillary Clinton, and what they found is that most people who watched it felt triggered by this because they were realizing that the reason why they wanted Hillary Clinton was simply because of her gender. Now, I'm sure none of you will have that effect from this because we're smart enough not to let our biases rule us so much as feminists do. That, you know, if we voted for Hillary Clinton, it wouldn't have been because she was a woman, because we agreed with her politics. The same thing with Donald Trump. It's not because he was a man, but because we felt that he was the best person for the job.
Well, remember,
now,
folks,
it doesn't matter.
This is what tolerance and progress looks like. This is what the regressive left is.
And it's so funny to me that these people set out to one direction and ended up being completely different. And I'm glad they did it. I mean, I want to see the entire play. I mean, they did an actual play where they did several speeches. And I would love to just see that. Just a rehearsal clip they had.
Mhm.
But this actually proves that there's a lot of misandry in the left. Because once again, they voted simply based on gender.
Well, I wouldn't say. Well, see, if I was to say, there's so many racist right people that they voted for Trump, which obviously isn't true, right? There's an element of extremism on both sides, and where the left is now is definitely towards the social justice stuff. Like I said, like I pointed out, this is the regressive left. I'm still part of the left. On economical issues, on social issues, I want no government. But the regressive left, they want to basically just make a big fucking anthill out of just the tiniest little crumb. You know?
Well, and that's why I said that there's misandry in the left, not that every person who identifies as the left is misandrous.
I wouldn't consider them leftists. I wouldn't even consider the extreme right-wingers righties if you look at horseshoe theory. I wouldn't consider them either, because you eventually have to betray the freedom aspects of your philosophy to go that far.
I do think that there's an inherent reaction that we all have on a biological level when we see, like, you know, when we see men behave in a certain way and women behave in a certain way. Like, for instance, if I'm stepping out of a bar and I see two guys having a fight, I ain't getting in on that. But if I see two women fighting, I might be inclined to go there and stop it. There's just a reflex that happens, and there's no reason to assume that you wouldn't have the same reflex if you saw politicians arguing, just because that's what happens. But over time, you will you will overcome your biological urges and actually listen to what's being said, and then you might, you know, change your reactions.
Okay.
I'm just saying it strikes me as something that would definitely be a factor.
Well, when they bitch about equality, you also have to realize that, like you said, those instinct, like the way that we reflex, that we react to situation, is in everyone. There's no way to get rid of it. Like,
exactly.
We're gonna be. We can get really goddamn close to equality, but there's certain things that will be different for each gender.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'll happen regardless, and then there's certain ways that certain people behave. That just sort of happens. I mean, we all of us know that there's inequality in the legal systems and all that kind of stuff. We all see that, but some other guys were probably the ones who stepped back and let it happen because they were trying to, you know, do it to help women out, and maybe they honestly thought it was a good idea. I mean, a lot of the reasons we're in the situation is kind of because of men, because they didn't step up and say, no, that's not fair. They would often think that we need to help out the women. just because it's in
Hell
the
is paved with the path of hell is paved with good intentions.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's just a reflex or it's an urge that we have.
we're
And
just
so, of course, what?
Well, as a species, we're more protective of women than we are men.
Exactly.
So it's very logical that would happen. So I don't expect any sort of perfect equality in the way people treat each other socially. That's just natural. I'm going to let that happen. I'm not going to be some big authoritarian and say that. But when it comes to legal issues, everything should be 100% equal. And that's the only way forward. But these people want to say, oh, mansplaining, manspreading. There's a new thing where, there's an app where men split the bill, white men pay more. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'd be all well and good to think of things in that way. It's just never going to go that way because one example being if two guys engage in, let's say, mutual combat outside of a bar, that's going to they both sort of agree to it. We're going to fucking beat each other up. And so therefore you can't really sue one or the other for assault. If a man and a woman decide to engage in mutual combat, that's kind of a different story. Granted, you might think, well, equality, they both agree to it. Okay, fine. We'll just let it happen. But what if she's pregnant?
His ass.
But then you put into the factor, like, what if she's pregnant and she agreed to all that kind of stuff? What if he didn't know, or what if they did know and he thought, well, fuck it, I'm going to kick your ass anyway? I mean, how would you handle that situation? It sounds a bit extreme, but of course, I live in Canada and I live close to some reserves.
I'd consider child abuse on the mother's part for making a decision to just fight some random fucking scraggler when you got a child.
What about the guy though? Should he get in trouble?
Whether or not he knew or he
person-
felt the need to defend his life.
If one person's gonna get in trouble though, then the other one would have to as well, because it just like like pro-life laws and all that crap where they're like, oh, you can't abort. It's like me being pro-life in terms of don't punch babies and fetuses.
Mm-hmm.
Don't punch fetuses.
Yeah, that just makes sense. But then, of course, like, what if you didn't know?
If you didn't know,
still be in trouble.
Well, and that's why the law is not written for specifics. It's written for a general guideline, and it's up to an arbitrator of justice to try to find what is the fair and just thing. The problem is that that's gone so far out of whack that if a woman even cries, I mean, there was the case of the girl who she was like 22 years old and had sex with an 11-year-old boy. And her defense was, well, I'm emotionally immature. I have the maturity of an 11-year-old girl.
Well, I mean,
and the judge like, okay, that makes sense. We're going to go ahead and not have you serve any jail time whatsoever.
Guys, it was just a sexual
No, she should have served jail time. She broke the law.
It was just a sexual emergency. You guys seen that case in Sweden, where the guy he fucks a child, a young boy, and he's like, oh, it's a sexual emergency, and then he gets off scot-free because he's Muslim. I think we're putting certain groups of people. This is what justice wants to do: is put certain groups of people on a pedestal. Just because of
there was a case in New Jersey of a Muslim teacher who got charged with having sex with a minor, one of her students, and the minimum sentence for a woman who has sex with a child in New Jersey is 5 years, but the judge decided to commute it to 3 years because she used the excuse that she grew up where boys had sex at a very young age. So she was unable to control her urges because that was the environment she was raised in.
Yeah, to fucking 11. Bullshit. That doesn't happen to regular, well-adjusted adults.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me means that you're saying that being Muslim is a mental handicap. If you're going to give them slap on the wrist sentencing.
Bigotry of low expectations.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you're right. The law is very much social justice warrior special snowflake bullshit. It's all about, oh, well, we're too afraid to do anything bad to these people because then it'll hurt our PR. So we're going to give them a slap on the wrist and hope that they don't play. I mean, look at what happened with Brock Peters. Was it Brock Peters? Or is it Brock Turner? I forget his name. But the guy who basically hooked up with a chick, went behind a dumpster, she passed out, and he had sex with her. Now, what he did was wrong, but he only got like 9 months in jail. Feminists flooded the internet like, oh, this is a rape culture. This is a rape culture. It's no wonder judges want to go hard on men and soft on women. Looking bad. Look at what happened in Chicago with the 4 African-American beating up one white kid. And even did a videotape and put it on not YouTube, Facebook. And it's like, it's obvious that they were doing it because he was white. They kept calling him racial slurs, kept calling him a Trump voter. And even when they got arrested, the Chicago Police Department did not want to call it a hate crime, even though it was, because it was black people, and black people can't commit hate crimes. The problem with our legal system is it's trying very hard to give special concessions to certain people and then compensating it by making it harder on others.
What they should,
and that's not justice.
There should be, if we're going to set a precedent on this, there should be some sort of, first off, there needs to be a precedent set. And there would probably need to be some sort of amendment to actually make it so that, like, the minimum rates, like the minimum prison sentences can't be different for arbitrary reasons like gender, race, religion, etc. It can't be different for any of those categories, because those are arbitrary. Those don't really have anything to do with the action that you took.
Yeah, the only time that any special consideration it needs to be considered is when you don't have the mental capacity to be responsible for your actions.
I think that's
that
even
has to be proven that you did not have that capability.
I'm going to call it a slippery slope, and yes, I know it's a fallacy, but if you haven't seen, it was a kid who got away with drunk driving and murdering people because he, quote, had affluenza. You know, he was mentally incapable because of his sheltered lifestyle to realize what he was doing. And in such a case, you could argue that he didn't have the mental capacity to do so.
Well, that's just bullshit.
If we're talking about like someone who's like mentally handicapped, then yes. But if we're talking about someone who doesn't have the mental capacity because they're naive, I don't think that they shouldn't get in trouble. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
Right. Because you still know that hurting people is wrong.
And you still know that you could have killed people driving drunk. So you can fuck yourself.
What's up, Medusa?
Yeah, I didn't know that you couldn't park the opposite way on a street because I saw somebody else do it and I still got in trouble. So yeah.
I once drove on a suspended. I once got my car taken away because I was driving on a suspended license. I didn't know I was driving on a suspended license. Got home, the mail just had arrived, and there was a letter saying I was driving on a suspended license. How could I have known that if the mail hadn't come yet? You're responsible.
Yeah.
Ignorance of the law only goes so far.
Yeah, true enough. So what else you got?
All right, so let us go through my email.
Oh, by the way,
as
those
you
who
can
hit the Twitter link. You guys will like that
what's
one.
up?
That whole where we're watching you. Like, what? Okay, what's all this about?
Dude, I like that, dude. That is good. He deserves it.
Who? What? What's going on? Explain.
What
Click
are you
on
talking
it.
about?
Oh,
Yeah, I click on it, but what you gotta explain to me? What am I looking at
dude,
here?
that's where Omni made his video.
I don't know who that is.
Bro, that's the background. Omni Politics 16. You don't know who that is?
I obviously don't. So no.
Oh my.
I've never heard of it.
Click on this.
You guys are living under
Of
a
course, it
rock.
opens up. So, is this
All right, do us a favor.
what is this,
Explain.
doxing someone?
No, he was trying to justify pedophilia. He was like, he was going out there and being like, children can consent and saying crazy shit. I have a video up on it right now. It's Omni.
You're talking about the guy with the big eyebrows and the poofy hair.
Yeah, dude. That's
Yeah.
where he filmed this video. That's exactly
Yeah,
where.
Yeah, I saw his
Okay.
chat with Andy Worski.
Oh my god, that was the most awful. Like, it just got worse and worse to listen to as it went on. But
I didn't go all the way to the end.
dude, Andy.
Okay, but let me hold on, guys. Hold on, because
Touch.
you know.
Poor Andy.
Hold the fuck up.
I'm wondering what this is, because if this is doxing, I don't care if he, whatever he
No,
did, if
don't
he
put on the screen.
bad, you
Don't
go
put
to the FBI. You do not dox someone on the internet. So tell me right now, is this doxing?
Yeah, don't put it on the stream.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I don't even like the fact that I just looked at it.
yeah.
Truth be told.
Me neither. That just makes me uncomfortable. The
I'm
less I
sorry,
know.
if you did something bad, you go to the authorities. You do not take justice into your own hands. I do not care for this vigilante bullshit.
No, I
You
think you should
don't
be
dox
reported to the.
people no matter
Dude,
how bad they are.
That's how you report them to the authorities.
What, over social media?
Well, no, not over social media, but you find them, and then that's how you. Because look, with the shit that he had posted, he had images. This is more than probable cause. Just images of him in a bedroom with like little child stickers all over it where he's recording, and at that point, that's suspicious enough to warrant finding this person, being like, "Hey, FBI, this person who's like significantly creepy lives right here."
And that's all well and fine. Okay. I'm all in favor of that. You find this person, you report it to the FBI, have at it. Social media.
Yeah, I don't know who posted that original tweet, but it's not.
Take
I
that.
don't care for that.
Parents should know, man.
That sounds a lot more like vigilante justice to me.
He's not on the registry yet.
Well, then call him on the FBI and let him deal with it, or let the FBI deal with it. Don't. No, it's not something you should do on social media. It's just not.
No. All right. So let's go ahead and move on from that. I'm apologizing.
We're not
for
saying
that.
that you did that. We're not saying you did that. You just sort of noticed something on the internet, on Twitter. That's all.
I
I'm
just
not.
show you. All right, so what
Let's
you
go.
got?
This is my email. Every day I get maybe like 20 messages from Google Alerts. So I'm just going to start looking through here and see if there's any stories that pop out at us that we want to talk about. Anthem protest means U.S. soccer is siding against Black Lives Matter. Okay. So if there's any one of them that you guys want to look at, just let me know and I'll click on it.
I want to see guest speaker focuses on spirituality in the Black Lives Matter movement. I think that's ridiculous enough.
Okay, let's see what this has for us. Bucknellian. That's an interesting name.
It's pretty.
Okay, so let me zoom this in a little bit. Niall Fort presented a lecture on the Black body and religion on March 8th. The talk focused on the importance of spirituality and activism, including Black Lives Matter movement. The lecture was hosted by Griot Institute for Africana Studies and co-hosted by the Department of Religious Studies as a part of the Black Body Reconsidered series. The moral and spiritual sides of Black Lives Matter movement, questions concerning the role of the Black church, the politics of Black spirituality, and the sacredness of Black life, as stated by the Black Body Reconsidered webpage. We are not simply the sum of our oppression. We are more than that. Well, I'm glad we agree on that one. Fort, a minister, organizer, and scholar, is currently working towards a PhD in religion and African American studies at Princeton University. As an activist, Fort is known for advocating for the Black Lives Matter movement in Ferguson, Missouri, as well as creating programs to serve his community. An idea that some of us younger activists have sort of rejected the church or rejected religion altogether. So I want to complicate some of that and sort of give a different understanding of what actually happening on the ground with some of us. Religious fundamentalists trying to insert religion into a movement.
Well, can we look at other religions that do this, namely feminism, Islam? I mean, you can look and find this everywhere. I mean, there's even an extreme called anarcho-feminism, which I mean, you can be both of those things, but they're not one thing that's necessarily great together, you know. And I think this is what gives people power. Is, I mean, movements change. You can look at so many of them.
Well, it just...
A leaderless movement changes, sorry.
I mean, certainly a movement is going to change, but I think this is a person who wants to be relevant and is trying to say, well, okay, we have to do things my way in order for him to be relevant. And that if you're not going to do it my way, then you're part of the problem. You know, the problem is with feminism and the Black Lives Matter movement is this echo chamber bullshit. I mean, the one thing about this show right here is there are a lot of things we don't agree with each other on, which is fantastic. I like that you're disagreeing with me on key issues because that means we're talking about it and raising awareness of whatever it is that we're trying to talk about. But in movements such as Black Lives Matter and feminism, it's a complete echo chamber with the excuse given, if you don't agree with me, then you hate me. And I think that's what this guy is doing right here, is trying to insert his ideology under the banner of, if you don't agree with me, then you hate me.
Well, it's a lot. There's a lot of people like that. You'll find them literally everywhere. I think the term for it is an ideologue.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. So if it can be with religion, it can be with an ideology like feminism or Islam, which is both. Islam is very ideological for a religion. Actually, do you have Islam hitting you up on Google Alerts?
No.
No, you don't look at that.
I try to stay away from Islam in all honesty because they are very, very, very unstable. Well, and it's like, you know, you say one bad thing and then your house is blown up.
No, take the red pill. Take the I'm telling you, the red pill is medicine.
I take a daily supplement of red pill. I mean, I understand that Islam is bad. It's just there are a lot of other people really focusing on that already. Yeah. There's nothing really new that I can add to that. And most of what my show is about is feminism. Black Lives Matter is that feminism has conflated gender and race together. Now, yes, they've also conflated religion as well, but that I'd have to do a whole field of study, and I just don't have that kind of time.
Yeah.
Terrorism program set sights on Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ groups, and refugees.
Yes, that sounds really good. That sounds dank.
Let's see what this has to say.
That is dank as hell.
You would think that Denver, being a pot capital of the U.S.,
they've been doing really good lately. I take pride in them. This added to it.
Okay, so this is like Where's Waldo, but we have to find white people. I think she's
One
white.
in the front.
Oh, there's a white guy. There we go. I found him.
Right,
There's
Oh, there's
all the-
another one.
I'll do a rough count here.
There's one right there.
Here's the part of the problem with this. There's a lot of mixed race black people here with fairly light skin. I can't tell if they're black or not. There's one woman who looks like an Aboriginal. She's like where the C is in the sign. I'm like, you're very light skinned, but you're also
Well,
she could be
she's
like,
probably Latina.
yeah, I was gonna say maybe a Latino. I mean that throws me for a loop. I mean the person behind her has way lighter skin, but has like the afro of the blackest man I've ever known. So I mean like that kid there.
Oh,
This
right
chick right
there.
here looks like Rachel Dolezal.
That's her. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's those mixed race ones that are throwing me off on the image. I'm like, I don't know, man.
All right, let's see what this says. In the last weeks of the Obama administration, Jed Johnson's Department of Homeland Security announced the receipt of its $30 million counter-violent extreme grant. The funding will go for activities that include intervention, developing resilience, challenging the narrative, and building capacity. The recipients of the grant included local government agencies, university, and nonprofit organizations. Organizations was the Denver Police Department, which was approved for a $240,000 grant for training and engagement. These funds, however, were only half of what the DPD had requested, according to the grant proposal acquired through the Colorado Open Records Act request. The grant proposal details DPD's plan to prevent violent extremism recruiting in the community and outlines what has now become a fairly standard blueprint for CVE initiatives. Build community resilience to violent extreme recruitment and radicalization through provisions of social services, school mentoring, outreach events, and enhancing the understanding of the violent extremist threat through officer training. Actually, this sounds like a really great thing, and it's far more than what Black Lives Matter and feminism is doing. They're taking government grants and trying to help out the community and prevent the need for violent extremism.
Well, yeah, exactly. What I see from this is they're trying to prevent Antifa from thinking they have enough punk bitches to do something in the street. You know, like this is some stupid shit that they're doing. They're burning shit down. Like, fuck that. That's gonna ruin communities.
Mm-hmm.
The proposal refers to Montgomery Court's CVE model, which has been rebranded as BRAVE, to stress the need for community engagement and leadership and a multi-pronged approach to community-led identification and intervention strategies. Unlike the Montgomery County model, however, DPD's proposal contains a few details on exactly how it will identify those vulnerabilities to violent extremism. This is a troubling omission since one of the major criticisms of CVE is that they inevitably rely on discredited science given the lack of consistent indicators of violent extremism. Such reliance on shoddy methodologies has been a staple of virtually every CVE initiative, including the Montgomery County model, which the DPD considered a standard to emulate. Okay, so what is the model then? Let's see if it mentions it. The closest the proposal comes to identifying risk factors of violent extremism is in the discussion of mentoring programs to be carried out by Goodwill Industries, a local community organization. According to the proposal, Goodwill Industries provides in-school mentoring to 16,000 at-risk students in 36 schools. Fantastic. These students have been identified as at risk by school counselors, teachers, community partners, and or criminal justice system, and suffering from risk factors such as low bonding to family, school, and community, early persistent behavior problems, academic failure, alienation, rebelliousness, and association with delinquent peers. But it's never clear whether these students are at risk of failing prey to them or at risk of dropping out of school. Press release from Goodwill Industries suggests. Ironically, this only serves to highlight how meaningless such risk factors are given. They can seamlessly apply to anything from violent extremism to academic failure. Okay, I see what they're saying now. Because they are giving mentorship to these individuals that present this behavior, they're saying that it's fundamentally flawed because we don't know that these type of people will go into extremism. Well, I mean, honestly, how are you supposed to know who's going to go into violent extremism and not?
You really don't. I mean, there might be
And, you know, you've got to start somewhere.
I mean, there could be maybe some sort of personality types that are more, I would say, likely to, but I wouldn't say there's a lot of warning, really. It has more to do with the environment and what's going on, you know, racial tensions, etc. Like, you guys saw that case where the black guy just, he made like a YouTube video and then he started to just shoot random white police officers. Like, I think everyone here has seen that.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I don't quite recall, but it might be.
You've got to start somewhere. And you know what? I mean, look at these kids that they're talking about here. I mean, we're talking about low bonding to family, school, community, early persistent behavior problems, academic failure, alienation, rebelliousness, and association with delinquent peers. I mean, even if this wasn't for violent extremism, these are people that do need mentorship.
Right.
Well, who cares what the end goal is? Well, let's see what the benefit could be from actually getting mentorship to these people that are falling through the cracks. Because what's the alternative? To leave them alone? Oh, we can't know that they would join violent extremism, so we shouldn't mentor them at all?
Yeah, definitely. It's good to put money into the systems like this, or systems that would be. Sorry, I have to step out here for a sec.
So this is interesting. It's talking about building resilience to ISIS and other violent extremist groups by facilitating integration of members of refugee and religious communities into the Denver city life. Which, okay, I agree with that as well. But then this article is saying, such a focus on refugees seems misplaced, to say the least, since refugees have carried out precisely 0 terrorist attacks since 1980. What are you off now? I mean, there was a report that came out of the White House that was on CNN that Mark Dice was talking about, that they found that 30% of terrorist attacks that have been committed in the United States or stopped by the United States was a result of people coming in as refugees or immigrants. 30%. Now, what's interesting about that specific thing, it was on CNN, they cut them off by saying they had technical difficulties, which seems to be a common tactic for CNN. So, no, you can't say that, oh, there haven't been any refugees who've caused terrorist activities since the 1980s. That's bullshit. They have.
Well, CNN is fake news. Like, it wasn't just Donald Trump that exposed that. You can find many videos of CNN just cutting the mic in moments that just look intentional, to say the least. That's as kindly as I can put it.
So, but you know, the biggest problem with the refugees, and this is why I support what Donald Trump is doing. Don't get me wrong, Donald Trump is a horrible, horrible man, but he was unfortunately the only one I could in good conscience vote for. Yes, I voted for Trump, but we do need to reform the way we bring people into this country. And we're getting a lot of people who want to come to this country but don't want to integrate with the American lifestyle, with the idea that America is a great country.
Yeah, that is
they
essential. That is essential.
It's like no one is ever trying to get into Mexico saying, oh, I want to get away from capitalism. They want, but they seem to thrive with it as well. And it's always funny that people want to leave these oppressive regimes, but the first thing they want to do is recreate it once they get here. And it's like, look, you don't have to deny where you came from.
You just have to come here and integrate.
Right. So I don't see how this is a bad thing that the Denver Police Department wants to help people integrate better into American life.
Drop the link of this into the chat, the live chat.
All right. Okay, it's just the three of us. Alrighty. So goodbye to them. I wish they told me. I would have said goodbye to them.
Yeah, I know.
For coming on.
Oh no, Mad Cat. I meant in the live chat, in the YouTube chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's actually not a bad article. I'm seeing, yeah. Put it in bookmarks.
I wanted to go for another hour, but I'll go ahead and ask the two of you. Are you guys good for that, or do you need to get going?
No, I can stay for an hour. I can. I'm not sure about Melissa. She's gone. She said she'll be back, so you can ask her in a couple minutes.
Alrighty. All right, so let's check out some more articles. I'm going to jump from Black Lives Matter because
it's not.
All right. Kind of is like, okay, Beyonce and other celebrities sign open letter for gender equality.
In Canada?
Yeah, this is HuffPo Canada.
Oh, Huffing Post Canada.
Female artists in Rio promote women's right via painting. Anne Hathaway at UN on gender rights on International Women's Day.
Yeah,
you mean Anne Hathaway was working?
Let's read that one, and it's on Daily Mail. This better be good. Well, let's see this.
Now, this, by the way, is how I get all of my articles for my shows. Is I get like 20 alerts a day. So
wait, how are you using Firefox and Hangouts? I can't do that. It tells me it's cutting support.
Chrome.
Oh,
I'm using Chrome to do Hangouts.
Damn it! I know. I hate
for everything, so I don't want to switch to Chrome.
Chrome is cancer.
I don't personally have a problem with Chrome, but I guess the only problem I have with this, it's a memory hog worse than Firefox.
Yeah, because it's sending everything back home to Google, all your data, so that uses up system resources. That's why I hate Chrome. It's like fucking spyware.
And their video that they show of this is only 49 seconds.
I mean, wow.
Longer for 49 seconds.
Look at that title. How interesting.
Go, mommy! Anne Hathaway posts cute snapshots of baby Jonathan watching her give UN speech on a laptop. As soon as my computer wants to work. So he will turn 1 on March 23rd. And Anne Hathaway's adorable little boy, Jonathan, seemed entranced by the vision of his mother on a laptop set up by his proud dad, actor Adam Shulman, as she gave a speech to the United Nations in New York on Wednesday. I would hope her child is watching her at the UN. I would be more freaked out if he wasn't. That's just what you do for family, you know? Year-old boy, he probably just hears his mother's voice. He doesn't really understand anything. Why does this have to be a news article? Let's actually do a news article about what the fuck she said to the UN.
It was only a 49-second video. Is there anything else you can find about this? Can you? Actually, I'll see if I can find a link.
Let's see what the rest of this. See what the rest of the article says. You know, when she was younger, she used to be a lot hotter, but now it's like, I don't know.
No, there's got to be a better magazine. Okay, The Guardian might at least actually. It's 1:45 of her speech on The Guardian.
Well, I don't really want to listen to her speech. I just want to know what she said. Okay, the Star chose to speak out against controversial Family and Medical Leave Act that gives caregivers just 12 weeks of unpaid leave a year for childbirth and other reasons. That information landed differently for me when 1 week after my son's birth, I could barely walk. Okay, well, it's 12 weeks and you're talking about the first week after his birth? That information landed differently when I was getting to know a human who was completely dependent on my husband and I for everything. When I was dependent on my husband for most things, and when we were relearning everything we thought we knew about family and our relationship. You're describing parenthood. The intern star says the current law makes it extremely difficult for many already struggling families to make ends meet. Somehow, we and every American parent were expected to be back to normal in under 3 months without income. I remember thinking for myself, it's the practical reality of pregnancy is another mouth to feed in your home. And America is a country where most people are living paycheck to paycheck. How does 12 weeks of unpaid leave economically work? Okay, she is making a valid point here. And I think it's a point worth discussing. It doesn't like she's really trying to say that women are being disadvantaged in this situation. At least not that I've read yet.
Well, I think her argument is basically, I think there should be a certain amount of, if we're going to do paid leave for one gender, it's also the other. Because at that, like, if it's difficult to get started with a kid like that, it would be much, much easier. Not something as long, but if you look at any other, like, country, they have it. And we don't. And we spend, like...
Well, yes and no.
Well,
yes and no, we have.
We don't. We spend half of our discretionary spending.
Looking at it, though.
No, it's not. We have a lot of costs we can cut.
No, let me explain. The way America is set up, the way it's supposed to be set up, is that we have federal laws and then we give individual states the ability to create their own laws. So it's up to individual states to determine they will allow paid family leave. That's not a federal issue, that's a state issue. That's why America as a whole doesn't have laws on it. They don't even have laws on when you're supposed to take breaks at work and whether or not you're supposed to get lunches. And the way the states handle it is that they give it to individual businesses to make the decision on whether or not they're going to do this.
Yeah, what business is going to voluntarily...
No, America doesn't. But the thing is America is not supposed to have these laws at the federal level. This is supposed to be at the state level.
Well, if the way it works is the federal law trumps state law, regardless. It doesn't really matter. You can say some things are an issue of states' rights, but that's not the same as looking at it from, if the federal government passes a law, we're all going to have to abide by it, regardless of the state.
But that's not how it's supposed to work. It's not supposed to be a trump card. That if you don't get your way, then we'll pass a law at the federal level.
No, I don't agree with that either. But there should be a minimum. There should be like a minimum amount of time for something like that.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate here. Why should a business pay for someone not to work?
Well, we could do a government. There's, if we're
okay,
really,
so it should come out of the taxpayers. Why should the taxpayers have to pay for someone not to work?
because then everyone's going to hopefully reap the benefit of that.
What if, as a single man, so I'm paying taxes into something that I'm not going to necessarily reap the benefits from? Now, again, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but this is the discussion that needs to be had. How is it fair that me, as a single man, pay into a system that I'm not going to benefit from at all?
I mean, I think it's just better to do X scenario, like my scenario, right? Not your devil's advocate scenario. I think that what this outcome that I'm arguing for is better because you're not going to be struggling trying to get back on your feet for, you know, a certain amount of weeks.
I am struggling right now. I'm disabled and I can't get the state to help me at all.
Well,
The
then,
system that was designed to actually help me is not helping me.
yeah. So
Too
then,
many people abuse the system, and now it makes it so conflated to actually get anyone to help. Hoops that you have to jump through. Whereas 10 years ago, I might have been able to get on the system.
yeah,
That's
I'm
the
saying,
problem. Have government regulate
saying, why
something like that, is people will take advantage and abuse the system.
of course people will. But then look at if you weren't ever able to get those benefits. If someone made the same argument you made for you know, this paid leave argument and said, why should someone who is able-bodied pay taxes when they're never going to reap the benefit of it? It's sort of like a social contract insurance type of deal that we're doing here. What we're saying is, in good faith, we think this system would be much better for everyone as a whole than have someone be a burden to their family, etc.
And how do you deal with people abusing the system? Taking away someone's opportunity to use the system to rehabilitate themselves during this time so that when they go back to work, they're not in financial ruin.
Well, those are things that have to be ironed out. You know, a law isn't like a one-page bill. There would probably be many ways to do it. I mean, we have issues with people abusing the system now. There's people who go in and, you know, buy cigarettes with, you know, whatever government assistance they get. And this is an issue that is ongoing. That's a separate issue on top of that other issue. I'm arguing it's still better to have some people abuse the system, but actually help those that really need it. We should be able to. We should find the next one.
And what happens when people abuse the system so much that those people who actually need it still don't get help?
Well, that's what we have laws.
Because that's
for.
what's happening right now.
Strong punishments for people who, you know, violate those laws. We can impose heavy fines, higher than the original. We can
for some of these issues, and it's never been implemented.
Yeah, and I'm saying
And you
things
know
like
why
that.
it hasn't been implemented?
Why?
Because there's a lot of special interest groups that keep lobbying for this and that. Like, oh, we can't do this because then it hurts people, so then we do nothing, and it continues to hurt people. You know, we have feminists coming in saying, oh, we can't get rid of alimony because of the gender wage gap. That kind of bullshit that shouldn't even be in the discussion at all is and could influence the final outcome. And this is why it's not such a great idea to have the government. Now, I agree with you. I think that both men and women should get paid leave whenever they have a child. I 100% agree with that. But I question who is going to foot the bill for that. You know, if we do it through the government, that's going to come with regulations, and that's going to come with a lot of people trying to make changes here and there.
Well, throw it on your
And
payroll
it
tax.
ends up going to
Well,
be a
I can
corrupt
answer your
system.
question that you asked earlier, Mad Cat.
What's up?
You said earlier, and this is just too much for me to type in the message board on YouTube, but your question was, why as a single man should pay for a service that I'm never going to use?
Which was a
Right, okay,
hypothetical,
I can answer-
not how
I
I
can answer-
actually think.
This actually came up in my economics class. So, for example, I never fly on airplanes. I drive everywhere. I believe you either take the bus or drive everywhere too, right?
Right.
Right. So we don't use the airplanes, right? So why should we pay for the FAA and stuff like that, right? Because our taxes go into all those services. Well, even though we may never get onto an airplane, right? The FAA protects us from plane crashes, right? So if a plane crash, as long as they're making sure that the planes are flying properly, the maintenance is on them is done properly, pilots aren't drunk or something, that actually helps us, right? Because a plane isn't crashing into our houses and whatnot, right? So there is a service that benefits everyone, even though you may not directly see that benefit.
And, paid leave, the benefit there is that these people are able to raise their children in a stable environment,
Right,
having
so they're
paid
not
leave
going into
during
foster
times that
care
they're not
because-
working. I agree with it. It's just how do we implement it?
What we're all saying is the roads with our own little, programs. Everything that the anarchists think we don't need. We're just a bunch of filthy statists that need government dole, And I think it's just a better way to run things. If you have too many people that make like a ridiculous amount of money, and also you can make the argument that, let's say we're doing paid leave, that could be taken out of your payroll tax. Something like Social Security. Like if you work a full-time job and you're always paying
That's dangerous, though.
then
We're
eventually-
running out of
No, hold on. Then eventually the government puts the bill for your paid leave.
We're in $1 trillion worth of debt.
about-
Where are we
what
supposed to
about
get the money
insurance?
from?
Well, here's an idea. Okay, so we put a lot of money into crap. I can't even think of the word of it right now. But when you get laid off, right? Unemployment, right?
Unemployment.
We could use unemployment money to pay for parental leave. Because
And that's certainly an idea.
there's plenty of money in that, right? Because we keep paying into the insurance, and the insurance sits there and they use that to build interest, right? Like I'm in Ohio, Hannah Wallen can probably attest to this. In Ohio, our unemployment paid for millions upon millions of these coins, right, as an investment, and it was a complete scandal. Like these coins never existed. We paid millions of dollars for and they said that no one was shorted on their unemployment. There was still plenty of money, and not to worry, right? Which I'm sure was true because they used extra money to purchase into this coin scandal. So there's plenty of money in unemployment. So we could just make it a partial part of that. Like companies pay just a small increase, right, in their unemployment, and then there can be a second category for parental leave. But most of the time, what it's really left up to is the companies, not so much the state. So some companies do have it, so we do sort of have it, but not for everyone.
Well, and that was another point that I was going to drive at as the reason why America is not going to have a law on it. And we can't use the argument, well, America doesn't have a law on it, so that means they hate women. Because the America relies on the state to create its own laws. And the state lets the businesses make the determination if they're going to have it or not. And part of what capitalism and what makes it so great is a business can say, you know what, we offer paid leave for our employees who are pregnant. So if you want a job that's going to have that in case you ever get pregnant, you go to the company that offers that.
Well,
and for many companies, that's actually somewhat standard.
but that would only attract women to work there.
No, because a lot of companies A lot of companies have it parental leave, not just marital leave, or you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, I'm saying there might be places
Right.
where that's not offered as well, and I'm saying that
That is true.
it'd be a more stable environment if it was paid for out of payroll, state taxes, whatever, etc. Set a minimum, a small minimum. Doesn't have to be big. It could be different from state to state depending on the economic situation there. I don't think it's good to say, oh, let's dump this heavy burden on states that can't carry that burden. You know.
Right.
So I'm saying there should be a minimum, but then let's say a state wants to raise it, sort of like the minimum wage, sort of a deal.
Yeah, but again, how much do you pay each person, right? So is it based on how much they already make, or is it based on living conditions, or what?
And that's one of those things that we couldn't answer now. I mean, that's going to really be dependent upon the state. That's going to be dependent on a variety of factors. But, you know, I kind of like the idea of using unemployment, but also kind of like employment now is that employees pay into it. And, you know, employees can pay into a maternity leave. That maybe when they start, they're not intending to do it, but, you know, they can put money aside.
You never know when you're going to meet someone or get someone pregnant and then go, oh, shit, I need to take care of my kid, right? Because you could be working in a union for, let's say, 20 years, and on bam, you have a kid. Never expecting to ever pay into it.
And I do agree that everyone should pay into that because it is overall better that we take care of ourselves. But as so long as it's something that's being paid into, because if we say, well, the government should automatically provide, now we're talking about socialism. Slippery slope right there.
I'm not up on that.
What's up?
I definitely like capitalism.
What'd you say?
I said I'm definitely
Yeah,
not
I
up
love capitalism too.
capitalism.
Socialism is okay so long as it's not our primary system.
Some things should be socialized. Some things should be, not all of them.
I think, yeah, if the government can actually make it overall cheaper, right, and give it to everyone, in that case, right, because it's like buying in bulk. If you can buy in bulk and save yourself a considerable amount of money, then you buy in bulk, right? But if buying in bulk doesn't save you any money, then you generally don't, because you don't need to waste that extra, that free space that you have, if you have any free space.
And, you know, this is a very good discussion that we're having right now. And this is the kind of discussions that need to be going on where we actually ask these hard questions and not demonize each other for asking these hard questions. But then we have people like Anne Hathaway going to the UN complaining, oh, well, you know, I only get 12 weeks off a year to raise my newborn child and I'm not making any money. The government should do something about it. It's like, if you're going to make a suggestion like that, offer an actual solution.
Okay, so my girlfriend and I actually started talking about this because we both want to have kids. We both want to get married, right? And my suggestion was, okay, we're both still going to need to work. I suggest her taking off a few weeks, right? And then we have my mom help out, because she lives relatively close by and she can look after the kid while we're at work. It gives her something to do because she's on disability, right? And I know she can take care of the kid, and she can be in my house while we're both at work, you know, trying to pull in money. Because otherwise, if she stops working for a few years, we're going to go into the hole because of the cost of everything. And on the salary I make at my current job, there's no way that's possible.
So, Vanessa, you look bored. I mean, do you have anything you want to add to any of this?
I'm not bored. I'm just kind of soaking everything in. I'm just like, I mean, no, they can only hear me mostly, but no, I mean, I don't really know too much about this kind of stuff to talk a lot. So it's like, I'm just listening to your opinions and gathering information. We're just talking
ultimately,
about the guy with the boot that wears a boot on his head over here, the one that like ran for president.
Yeah, how do you feel about?
ultimately, I do.
I want to ask you. I want to hear a real answer. How do you feel about Trump?
Me?
Yeah, because Twitter. Yeah, because if I asked you that on Twitter, it'd be like 2 seconds, like a freaking 140 character.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't like him as a person. I don't think he's gonna I mean, I don't think he's necessarily as bad as everyone says he is, but it's also like I don't know. I can't predict the future, so it's like I'm just gonna see what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna judge him, prejudge him, and he might end up being the best president ever, or he could, blow us all up. I don't know. Let's find out.
Hitler.
He could either help improve things or blow us all up. Either way, we'll be warm.
But when the picture I presented to Twitter of "Make America Great Again" on my chest. I'm sure you all remember that.
Yeah, remember that it's still there.
They put "Make Tits Great Again."
I know, right? Tits are great most of the time.
Okay, let's look for some more articles. Piers Morgan bashes Kim Kardashian nude selfies, calling it anti-feminist. I thought Piers Morgan was an anti-feminist, or am I confusing him with someone else?
Nope, you got it right.
Oh, well. Algerian pick, question if a feminist can love fillers. Okay. Feminist. Russian women unfurled a feminist banner on the Kremlin like it was an NBD. That was an NBD. Emma Watson's feminist evolution is more common than you think, that eventually her own kind turns on her. Yeah, that's more common than you think.
I don't know. I don't think evolution and feminism go in the same sentence.
What would a feminist foreign policy look like? It would probably be like, okay, everyone can do whatever they want, so long
More
as they do it the way we want it. So basically, our current economic foreign policy system.
But hold on, how feminist would it be if we had more Islamic immigrants?
So progressive.
They're really shooting themselves in the foot with that whole Islam thing that they're trying to get into bed with.
Oh, right.
I mean, look at Canada. They got entire Muslim communities, and they're just doing great.
Hey, did you guys see Riley J. Dennis's video on how Islam's like okay? He's like justifying it, and they're like, "Listen, you don't understand. They'd like fucking throw you off a building for being a faggot," and he's trying to defend Islam even more. Everyone's trying.
My quest to become a better, higher, imperfect feminist. Highly imperfect feminist. That's the goal you have. And this is a man that's talking right here. In Russia, a fashion brand fights the feminist stereotype. How to win a feminist battle. 6 activists share their secrets. Let's take a look at that. Oh, wait, that's a different country.
This ought to be good.
Read more of the report. Why does it just lead me to The Guardian if that's where the article's at? Bastards. Okay, let's see if it actually lists things or...
They link you to something in the middle so they can track you. That's what that's for.
Okay. All right. So I guess these were the 6 ways that feminists have won in the past. Time was called on the tampon tax. Okay, the tampon tax is such an absurd thing because they're specifically saying that there's a tax on tampons just because the world is misogyny. Well, the problem is that tampons are not a medical item; they're a sanitary item. You know, just like toilet paper is a sanitary item, because that's not a medical item. It's not exempt from taxes. Is that only women?
Here's where I actually agree with feminists. I think they should remove the tax on tampons, but I also think they should do it on all other sanitary items. When it comes to cleaning supplies and like napkins and stuff, I think that stuff should not be taxed.
Well, that's a fair point.
What you mean? Like,
I don't know if I'd go that far with it, but I agree.
All sanitary stuff.
are you talking about just like basic items pretty much everyone uses?
Yeah, pretty much like soap and stuff, like soap, dish soap, regular soap, right? I think all that should like not.
Yeah, that'd be very progressive. That'd be more tolerant than the progressive left.
Well, okay, a couple of things.
then
First
again,
off,
that
if something like that was done, hold on. If something like that was done, we could only do it for basic items, not specialty items.
Right.
Secondly, I don't know if I would go that far, but I do think that tampons should be exempt from taxes for the simple fact is I don't want women to have to choose between paying for tampons and going without. Because if I'm at work and a woman is on her period and that leaks through, that becomes a health hazard.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the other thing on that though. There's more options than just tampons. There's the Diva Cup. There's a number of items. Like homeless women. Do you know what homeless women do? They get complimentary napkins from like restaurants and stuff like Burger King, McDonald's, and whatnot, and they just use that. But there's also pads. There's like all sorts of things.
Well, yeah, but once again, it's what I said to the first point, for the standard item, the standard tampon, that should be given away for free. Not for free, but that should be taxed free. But any specialty items for that purpose, that would actually still be taxed.
While we're at it, we should just remove the tax on condoms. Stop a bunch of people from
That's actually the debate that feminists have over this issue. It's like, well, they give away condoms for free, and it's like they actually don't give that away for free. Because what happens in most circumstances, is that someone buys condoms to give away for free. It's not like the manufacturer made condoms specifically to give away for free. They're still making a profit on this.
I've seen places where they've handed out generic condoms for free. I can't say I know who paid for them, right? But the company that makes a bunch of generic ones, right, especially for like high schools, because let's face it, not all teenagers can really afford condoms, and they're going to have sex because they're teenagers.
I mean, someone had to pay for it. So
yeah.
Either
that or we just gave them a tax. We gave them a tax break or something.
Well, Mad Cat, look at this. If you let's say a store buys a product in bulk, what's the pricing on that going to be? It's going to be like cents on the dollar of what a consumer pays. Like for example, you go to a pharmacy, etc. So. Wouldn't that? I mean, if there was like a Planned Parenthood just giving out condoms everywhere, that'd be kind of be a fucking good thing. If you ask me.
No, I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying
I'm saying taxpayer money going there is not an issue.
What I'm saying though is that they use the excuse that the reason why we shouldn't have a tampon tax, and even some will say we shouldn't have tampons shouldn't be charged at all is because condoms are given away for free. Well, that's a false equivalent because one is a sanitary product and the other is to prevent STDs and pregnancy.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not
Well, just because that's their argument doesn't mean we should then let that bullshit false equivalency say we shouldn't do the other.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they are using a false equivalent argument.
Well, men use condoms.
Apples and
Well, bear in mind, I'm not saying this only to you, but also to the people watching.
okay.
There are people watching us?
Maybe like 2 or 3.
Wow, I thought women couldn't do math. We got 7 watching right now.
Well, I'm not.
I wasn't actually looking.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
insulting you, Car, and that's what I do.
I'm in there and I'm counted as watching, but I'm also in the show. That's the weird thing. Everywhere I go,
Stop
here I am
abortion initiative.
talking myself.
So I guess that was a feminist win that they got Poland to stop doing whatever they're doing. The Sun ended page 3.
What?
That was horrible. You guys remember that?
No, what are you talking about?
The Sun, it was a newspaper, I think, in California, that on page 3, it had like a lot of things related to sex, like advertisements and whatever. And then they decided to stop one day, and feminists were like, oh yeah, we've won. We got, them to stop doing things on page 3. So yeah, they basically had naked women on page 3 of the Sun, and then they just stopped.
The looming half-page picture of a naked woman. Like, wait, are you serious? That made you that messed you up all day? How about me seeing guys in Calvin Klein underwear with their junk like protruding through it, right? We see this on public fucking transportation, for fuck's sake, and you like, oh my god, you that much of a loser?
And the feminist excuse for that is, well, that's what do they call that?
Objectification.
Well, it's like a male power ego boost. Like for men to see an attractive man like that makes men feel better about themselves. So that's why it's not sexist to do that. When in fact, it's really for women to like get wet in their panties.
Yeah. And then they go out and buy their boyfriends those pairs of underwear, thinking he's gonna wear it,
Yeah, so that's why it's not sexist, because it's the male power fantasy. That was the term I was looking for. FGM was banned in Gambia. Okay, well that sounds like an actual feminist success.
Yeah,
something legitimate.
I'm all for getting rid of genital mutilation, male and female.
Yeah. Of course, feminists won't ever talk about male genital mutilation, but you know what? Kudos on them. I give it out to this Jaha.
It amazes me how many feminists tell me, oh, well, I'm against boys being circumcised too, and yet there's never a protest. There's never a feminist campaign, or YouTube videos, or anything, but they'll pay little girls to say fuck a lot and to lie about rape statistics and the like money, the wage gap and all that other shit. So yeah, they're so full of shit. Unbelievable.
Okay, here's a good bullshit one. McDonald's ended the gender bias in its toys.
Oh my god.
Oh, what the hell was this? How did I not know about this?
As a young girl, I felt puzzled every time my brother and I ordered McDonald's Happy Meals and I received different toys. He usually got cars and action figures while I was offered dolls and stickers. When I was 11, I wrote a letter to the CEO of McDonald's asking why they gave different toys based on gender. The curt response I received from McDonald's representative explained that the company did not designate girls' toys versus boy toys, and that my experience was atypical. As I can remember, there really wasn't, and sometimes there was, but you had to request that shit. I mean, if she
Yeah, you
got
asked
this,
for
then
the
it's
toy. There was
probably
like a
her mother
standard-
requested this.
There's like a standard toy that they just give everyone, and then you got to ask for the other ones.
Yeah. The
What a
dismissal
whiny,
frustrated.
bitchy, stupid fucking thing to complain about. Like really,
In
like kids.
2013, I helped organize a study in which children between the ages of 7 and 11 ordered Happy Meals in a series of visits to 15 local McDonald's franchises. On 93% of the business visits, McDonald's gave the kids, without asking, them to correspond to their gender. The boys' toys were Power Rangers, and the girls' toys were sponsored by a clothing store, Justice.
That's a nice store.
Okay, so you got a specific store doing this, okay? And you looked at 15 local McDonald's in your area?
Okay, well, hold on.
15
I
is
want to point
hardly
out.
a number to show bias.
But so
You would
what
need
is
to
the
get
problem with this? What is the problem with kids
It's
see a toy,
sexist.
playing with a toy? To them, it makes no fucking difference as long as it's occupying them.
Well,
Like, what is this
says
issue
here,
about?
though, the point that she makes here is, we even observe a worker falsely tell a girl that the restaurant had run out of Power Ranger toys. 5 minutes later, the same employee automatically gave to a boy from our study who ordered a Happy Meal.
I'm going to call bullshit on that one.
Well, even
Well,
if
I'm
it's
not calling
true,
it bullshit.
prove
I
that
just don't
one
care.
employee did it.
That's an individual case. And those are individuals that make those decisions.
Yeah, that wasn't yeah, it doesn't sound like it's the company's policy. And nowhere in this article have I seen so far that they actually talk about specifically asking, except for that one case. And I don't even believe that one case existed. I think that sounds made up to me.
No, I agree with
I
you.
want to see
But
the
plus the
video
fact,
of that.
your sample size is way too small to actually show something. If you tested 1,000 McDonald's and got repeated many times over, and you visited like 100 times or whatever, and you can show an actual pattern, then yeah, okay, you've made your point. But 15 McDonald's? No.
But also,
That's a really small sample size.
and no, but not only is it a small sample size, even if you do get the result even if they get the result they're looking for, they still haven't spotted any wrongdoing on McDonald's part. They've spotted something that individuals tend to do. If they give a toy automatically based on gender, I really don't give a fuck, because if that kid asks for another toy and they see the other toy around, everyone else has it, they're gonna get that damn toy. It doesn't really matter.
Not
This is
only that, but if you go to McDonald's in the same week twice, you get the same toys. You could then just swap with your fucking brother. Because he's going to have two of the same Power Ranger toys. He's not going to want a duplicate of the toy he already has, right? So he might just give that one to her. So problem fucking solved.
But
On top of that,
there's
McDonald's workers,
we
they're working a shit job as fast as they can during rush hours, right? So yeah, it's going to be easier to say this is a girl's toy. 99 times out of 100, she's going to want the girl toy. He's going to want the boy toy.
And that's the
They don't-
point
they
I
don't
was
have
going to
time
make right there.
Politics bullshit.
There's a reason why we have girl toys and boy toys. There's a reason why there's a girls section in toy stores and boys section. Yes, there's more boys section than there are girls, but nothing precludes a girl from going into the boys section and picking out a toy. She's not corralled there. The reason why it's been set up like this is girls tend to buy specific things, boys tend to want specific things. That's
Yeah, and-
just
and-
what we have noticed for the 100 years we've been doing this bullshit.
These
on anyone.
gender-based toys playing with, right? Like, this is cross species. We see not only other apes doing this, we see like other, like, outside of the ape family doing this. Not just great apes, but other apes and so forth. Playing with, you have boys tend to play goal-oriented games, girls tend to play social-oriental games.
Yeah.
Oriental.
Well, oriented towards, you're right. Yeah.
I was thinking Pokemon, but okay.
Slap every Asian in the face.
My girlfriend, and she's oriental, so.
All the Asians listening to this are not triggered.
Except for my girlfriend.
But no, you make a very good point there. And yes, we have gender-specific toys because that's what the market told us they wanted. And we're appealing to the market based on their purchasing habits. We're not saying that a girl can't play with a toy car. She can go into a boy section and get a toy car. And if an employee at McDonald's says, no, you cannot have this boy toy, then, you know, that employee needs to be fired. That one single employee is not a representation of an epidemic that you're trying to push.
Well, I don't think that employee should be fired. I think unless they violated a policy that already existed to say, oh, you must give children the toy that they want, they shouldn't be fired. It has to be a policy. That'd be like making the rules as you go along.
It may be a policy, but it may also be his personal bias that he doesn't think that girls should play with boy toys.
Well, I don't.
And if it's his personal bias, he needs to be reprimanded. Fired was a bit extreme.
Yeah,
but he should be reprimanded.
If it's repeatable offense,
not
the company's trying to sell toys. The company doesn't give a shit who it sells toys as long as it sells the fucking toys. If you have an employee who repeatedly refuses to sell toys, that fucker needs to get fired.
Right.
Doesn't matter what their gender is.
Yeah, you have a point.
So let's look at the other things, and then we'll probably wrap it up. I guess that was it. All right.
Wrap it up. Condom joke.
We actually got to the end of the time.
Yeah, we got about 8 minutes left.
I don't think we would have been able to do it without Karn here. I was burning out a little bit.
Am I even sounding all right?
Yeah, although I'm surprised he has a girlfriend. This is news on me.
Yeah, you sound all right.
I've been talking about it on Twitter.
Well, I'm not on Twitter.
Oh, you moved to Minds.com already, huh? Yeah, I just noticed you were on Minds.com as well.
Yeah. Well, I just don't use social media that much except for Facebook right now because it's just easier for me with my schedule.
The way these people go on, you'd think there'd be some sort of force field preventing kids from going to the other toy aisles.
No, I love it too. It's like things cost more for women than they do boys. No, they don't. Like, the female item costs this and the male item costs that. And what stops you from buying the male item? Oh yeah, you want more. So you
but no, it's even worse than that. It's even worse than that because when they show the female item, it's a high quality product. But when they show the male product, like razors, it's a disposable razor that might cost like $3 for $1. And her high fancy razor costs like $10. Oh, there's a pink tax. No, you just don't know how to shop.
Yeah, really. Like, did you see that Super Bowl commercial that the Ranzerkers did?
I haven't seen any of the Super Bowl commercials. I heard they all suck, so I just
the Honey Badger, right? They took one of the Super Bowl ads and they made comments on it. Allison and Dr. Vandermeer. And it's funny because they were talking about, she's like, the commercial is she going, we don't want equal pay now because we have expensive shoes to buy. And I was upset at the Honey Badgers because out of all the clips that they play, right, and their editing skills and everything else, right, the one scene they should have put in there, right after that comment was the scene from Mr. Deeds where the guy goes, you make more money than I do. Why are you living in this office? She goes, shoes. I buy lots and lots of shoes, right? Like, that's hilarious to put into that video. right? Because she's like, we need to buy expensive shoes and blah blah blah. I'm like, bitch, you can get them for $5. Don't give me that shit. They make 10,000 times more shoes for women than they do for men. So if they cost more, it's because women are driving up the fucking price.
True. And that's just how capitalism works.
Yeah.
That, you know, they're going to charge the price that they think people will pay for it. And if people keep paying for it, then they're going to know that's the right price to charge it for.
All right. My girlfriend's calling me, so I gotta X out of this.
Alrighty. Well, we're about done anyway, so. Well, I want to thank everyone who came out today. Wrath of Controversy, Samaj,
Yeah.
Samaj, Karn, and of course, you, Political
Monkey.
Gorilla, or was it Political Monkey?
It's Monkey.
See, I can only see your first name, so okay, Political Monkey. Thank you for coming out. And thank you for
What about me, bitch?
Well, I'm getting to you, bitch. Shut up. I see you every day. This is the first time I've met this wonderful gentleman here.
Whatever.
So thank you for coming out for this, and I hope you make it to any other ones that I do. I'm going to start doing these at Friday, so you're always welcome to come.
Are you in one of my Twitter chats? Because it was Medusa that posted this.
Well, apparently she's in a Twitter chat that I'm not a part of, so
I'll add you
whoever's
to it if
organizing
you
that,
want.
hint, hint.
I think I can add people to it.
But yeah, I think it was a great episode. I kind of like the randomness of it. You know, usually with my regular shows, I try to stay on topic, but here, don't really care.
I do that.
You don't need to stay on.
I have that effect on everything.
So do you have a channel on YouTube, or are you just more of a fan?
Yeah, I have it.
All right, and how can people find you then?
Type in political and then put a space bar there and press monkey. Or if someone wants to post a link in the chat, because I can't. You can do that too.
But my keyboard doesn't have a space bar. What do I do then?
If you type something in the chat, I should be able to go to your channel.
Oh, okay. Here, I might as well put my Omnigate video up because that got like 200 views. It got really popular.
Nice. Well, I definitely like helping smaller channels. So, I mean, the point where I can actually start saying other people have smaller channels. For the longest time, I was the small channel.
If you want to pop into my channel, get an untapped audience that you don't have, feel free to just hit me up on Twitter. I'll leave my handle right here.
All right. Well, I'll definitely add you. But yeah, I do like going on other people's channels too. So yeah, I'd love to do that sometime. All right. And of course, as always, thank you, Modern Medusa, for appearing on the show with me. And thank you, Andrew, for being a backrest for Modern Medusa.
What you say about me?
I said thank you, bitch.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I noticed
Come
that you're
see
leaning
our
up on
show
Andrew.
on Tuesday.
And I noticed you were leaning up on Andrew, so I said thank you, Andrew, for being a backrest for you.
Oh yeah, that too.
And I
But
think
yes,
whoever
we
paid for that gift
coming
on Twitter.
Yes, that was a lovely picture that my Firefox couldn't play, but Chrome played it just fine, and it was like yummy. So yes, we do have a show coming up on Modern Medusa's channel. It will be a discussion with the coordinator of the ICM, yeah. which is the men's conference in Australia. So that's going to be exciting. And then that's going to be at 9 a.m. though, because they're in Australia. It's going to be almost midnight their time. And then next week, we're also going to have Boobs and Dicks is also going to be at 9 a.m. We're going to talk about the state of affairs in Australia. So it should be exciting. And then, of course, we'll have this show next week. Who knows what's going to be on that show? I don't.
We'll find out.
So I thank everyone for coming out into the chat. It's always a pleasure to talk to all of you. Unfortunately, I have to be the host, so it's often hard to talk to you, but I do read what you say. So I do appreciate you, all of you. Anyways, that's going to do it for us today. I don't even know how to end this. It's not like our other shows. But thank you.
I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Peace.